This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So updating what we now know about that mass shooting at the Garlic Festival in Gilroy, California. The shooter, who was killed by police, you'll recall, 19 years old, has been identified. Not going to use his name. You know, that's our view here.
Don't even care.
There's a lot more details about the three people who were killed. The emphasis yesterday was on the 6-year-old boy who was killed, and that's, of course, proper, and the killing is tragic. In addition to that, though, again, you have one of these situations where you have a person act heroically in the worst of circumstances. Did you see one of the other people killed was a 13-year-old, Kyla Salazar. She was eating ice cream with her parents, two younger sisters, and other family members when they heard what they thought were fireworks, but of course realized were gunshots. The family started to run away, but Kayla stayed back to keep pace with her stepfather's mother, who uses a cane and was wounded. If Kayla hadn't been there, her stepfather's mother would have been shot, said a witness. Kayla's stepfather was also wounded, and as he went back to try to help her, but she was one of the other three killed, and then the third was a 25-year-old. So all young people from 6 to 25 that were murdered.
And I mean, when you say it sounded like fireworks, it really did sound like fireworks. I mean, people did not know. Well, there were bullets going, and they weren't sure if there was one shooter or two shooters. But sheriff's deputies, thank goodness they were on the scene, and they took him down in less than a minute. But that 6-year-old boy's father, he just broke my heart yesterday.
He was more of a friend to me than a son, who I will miss forever.
And originally, they told him when he got to the hospital that his son was in surgery and might make it, and then 10 minutes later, came out and gave him that devastating news.
Another interesting twist in the story was Congressman Dan Lipinski was there.
I know.
He was there with his wife. He issued a statement. My wife, Judy, and I were at the Gilroy Garlic Festival during the shooting. The shooter was not far from us when we heard the loud pops, which seemed to get closer as we ran. We're very thankful to law enforcement. The tragedy would have been far worse if not for their quick action. Also, the festival staff did a great job in the aftermath. Judy and I are okay, thank God. We pray for those killed and injured and for their families and so on. So, obviously, that's thankful that Dan Lipinski and his wife are okay. Actually, a friend of mine alerted me to this because she was with him at a conference that included a bunch of religious leaders, including like Bishop Paprocki from Springfield, friend of the show. We've talked to him before.
Yeah. He was there at the conference?
At the conference, she was invited, my friend, to go to this garlic festival, which I guess is a big deal in Gilroy, and she couldn't. She had to get back to take care of her kids. But so, the Lord and, I don't know, Cardinal George watching over her, and some of our Illinois legislative and policy leaders, obviously. In addition to that, though, there's this piece by Maureen Callahan in the New York Post, because here's some of more what we know.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? Reportedly, one witness heard someone shout, and the shooter reportedly responded, because I'm really angry.
We know he was 19. We know he used an AK-47 that he bought legally in Nevada. And, nobody said his political affiliation at all, because I don't think he's crazy. Okay, he's a monster, obviously a troubled person. But if you go, his Instagram was taken down pretty soon after the shooting, but it was up long enough for people to see that he, read a book, a white supremacist book once that he bragged about online. And that's pretty much all we know about him. But, he was crazy. It was a book that was talking about white men should take power over minorities.
Mm-hmm. He also posted, Garlic Festival time. Come get wasted on overpriced blank. So Maureen Callahan's piece, picking up on this exchange between someone at the festival and the shooter. She writes, "For those mass shooters who have attacked the innocent before, we know it's a specific strain of anger. Deep, repressed, biblically vengeful, felt most commonly by young men, almost always white, who report feeling alienated, dispossessed, misunderstood, victimized, and all too often rejected by women." This is sort of
Okay.
this is sort of the incel argument. There certainly is this strain that runs through a number of the shootings. Now, she categorizes them a little bit loosely because she doesn't distinguish between those who were on, who had documented histories with mental illness or on mind altering drugs and
Hmm.
those who were not, whether they should have been or not. It's still a distinguishing feature if you run through Columbine to Sandy Hook to Charleston to Virginia Beach to Colorado to Charlotte to the Poway Synagogue to the Louisiana shootings in two parishes and so on and so forth. And unfortunately, there are far too many, as I'm ticking off, reading from the list that she cobbled together. She writes, "The ever incubating mass shooter, these young men nurturing their anger through first person shooter games, violent pornography, through racism and a fascination with guns and violence, is our greatest and most stubborn and pressing threat." Yeah, there's something to this, although people sort of talk about this with the spaghetti on the wall approach. Things that are unhealthy, no doubt, you know, playing too much, playing video games
Video
too much of
games.
the time, obviously consuming pornography. But the research doesn't really link, certainly doesn't provide a causal link, and the any correlative links are pretty tenuous. So I know we just want to kind of throw it all together, but go back to the angry thing. The angry thing. And
You
what
have to learn how to handle your anger.
I think it's deeper than that. I don't think it's just about anger. I think it's about this idea that we are to indulge whatever someone's feelings are across the board, the range of emotions. Somebody's feelings are the basis of their morality. That's sentimental barbarism, emphasis on barbarism. And you see it when it comes to curriculum on college campuses or speakers on college campuses. And you see it when it comes to people who have been allowed to indulge their anger, allowed to indulge, in some cases, their hatred of other people. So maybe this whole idea of feel your feelings, which is, it used to be a punchline on sketch shows like Strangers with Candy. The art teacher, yeah, I'm gonna feel my feelings. That was a joke.
It's not a
Now,
joke. Now schools have coddling corners
well, that's what I'm
where you
saying.
can talk about your feelings.
Now it's pathological and it's celebrated. I feel, therefore I am. Not I think, therefore I am. You know
Right.
what?
Feelings aren't facts, and you have to tell kids that right away. I mean,
Yeah, but it's not even about um being an adult and being responsible is being a governor of your emotions and feelings, right? Restraining, at drawing boundaries where you say, no matter how angry I get, I'm not going to cross this line. And all those boundaries have been erased, and we're celebrating their erasure. In addition to that, I did so to me that's a much more interesting and I think perhaps fruitful area of exploration. Number one, number two, the other area, and this has not been talked about. At least I haven't seen coverage of this yet. I want to know what his family life was like. I want to know. I want to know where mom and dad were, because that's the other thing that we're loath to talk about. Whether it's just sort of systemic street violence in urban centers, or whether it's these mass shootings. Let's talk about mom and dad and the home life, and let's have a deeper conversation about the importance of that nuclear family. That has also been something we've casually allowed to be destroyed. In fact, we've celebrated its destruction through the welfare policies that everybody backslaps each other for supporting. So those two areas, it seems to me, are a much more productive place to focus our energies and research and thinking and dialoguing than what you're going to get, and you'll get, I'm sure, at the Democrat debate tonight. Ban AK-47s,
Oh yeah.
mental illness. We're going to like armchair diagnose from afar. It's all about white men and rage, or racism and rage, and it's all Trump's fault. I mean, don't be surprised if they go there. So you can do that,
They
and
better not.
you can do that and just run in place, or maybe there's these topics that have been, one has been, I think, too lightly explored, and the other, we know the truth and we're unwilling to confront it. That's the topic of family.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
How do you manage risk? Many organizations likely consult 2 or more brokers to assist with an employee engagement, benefits, safety, and business risk. This method invites miscommunication and opens the doors to discrepancies, ultimately leaving your company's true cost of risk unsolved. True North Companies has specialists in employee benefits, workers' comp, and property casualty insurance, offering innovative solutions to meet the needs of companies throughout the Midwest. True North's unique process goes far beyond simply placing insurance. The team works with companies like yours to ensure compliance, manage risk, and create financial savings that address education, finance transfer, technology, wellness, claims management, and regulatory compliance. To learn more or to request a no-obligation risk management assessment, visit TrueNorthCompanies.com/OurApproach. True North Companies, unique services, innovative solutions, and a proud supporter of the 100 Club of Chicago.
Your kids won't be thinking about school very much this summer, but it's the perfect time for you to think about where you'll be sending your child back to school this fall. More and more parents are thinking about private school. Maybe that's you. Well, private school has never been more affordable thanks to halfpriceschools.com, where you can find tuition vouchers for private schools across Chicagoland available at half of the normal price. No catch. It's quite simple. Find a school near you, purchase the tuition voucher, prepare to send your child off to school this fall. Halfpriceschools.com has quality schools located across Chicagoland, including Westminster Christian in Elgin, Kingswood Academy in Darien, Calvin Christian in South Holland, Faith Evangelical Lutheran in Antioch, Trinity Lutheran in Lombard, Covenant Christian in Aurora, and Christian Liberty Academy in Arlington Heights. So don't delay. Summer won't last forever. In fact, you only got about a month. And school will be starting again before you know it. Visit halfpriceschools.com today. Many of these vouchers have already sold out, so do not wait. Visit halfpriceschools.com today. That's halfpriceschools.com.
Message and data rates may apply. Please don't text while driving.
If you've been in business more than 20 minutes, you've probably printed your logo on all kinds of promotional products. We all know promotional products work because they're everywhere from sales meetings and corporate events to trade shows. Ever wondered why or how to best use promotional products to grow your business? Let us show you today for free. We're 4imprint, promotional product experts at your service. We're giving away an ebook called Promotional Products Work, absolutely free, to everyone who texts radio to 88988. At 4imprint, we make your logo look perfect on thousands of promotional items. With our 100% guarantee, it'll be right the first time, on time, every time. Your free ebook will reveal valuable insights that can attract new customers, build your brand, help your cause, or simply grow your business. Get the ebook Promotional Products Work absolutely free by texting radio to 88988. That's RADIO to 88988.
Hey, does your basement or crawl space smell, well, like a basement, musty, odor ridden? Did you know that the natural airflow in your home originates below ground and works its way into your living environment? You and your family are breathing that unhealthy air even when you're upstairs. So that's why you should give our friends over at Permaseal a call, 800-421-SEAL, to schedule a free inspection with one of their certified consultants. They'll conduct a thorough inspection of your basement and crawl space and provide you with proven solutions that will help prevent mold, spores, and allergens from affecting your family. So stop breathing that unhealthy air. Call Permaseal today, 800-421-7325, or visit permaseal.net. Be sure to ask your consultant about their PermaDry dehumidification and air filtration system. It's important. 800-421-SEAL, or go to permaseal.net.
AM 560, The Answer.
Speaking of family, in Australia, the schools are trying to educate young children on sexual consent by explaining they have the right to even tell their grandparents to hold back on the kisses.
What?
Yeah. But the push is taking heat from the older generation. The Respectful Relationship Program is being taught in Victoria schools, meant to help kids learn to say no to unwanted physical contact. But one educator has ignited a bit of a firestorm when she told their kids that they have the right to turn down affection from their grandparents. We're talking about situations such as grandma wants to swoop in for the big sloppy kiss, and if the child doesn't want that to happen, what they can do. They can respectfully say, "No thanks, Grandma. Let's have a hug instead." Or if it's someone they don't know, let's high five, let's fist bump. Well, Grandma's going to say, well, fine, then,
Then bye.
no $5 for you, or whatever the going rate
You have
is.
holes in your shoes? Too bad. I'm not helping you out.
I blame Joe Biden for this.
Yeah.
But I think some of this would be instructive for Joe Biden to maybe sit in to audit this class.
Do you think anyone's going to bring that up in tonight's debate about his touchy-feely ways? Oh, no, he's in tomorrow night's debate.
No, but I think when
They should.
it's his turn, when they all come out on stage,
Yeah.
and he goes in to kiss Mayor Pete on the lips or whatever.
Ew.
I think there's gonna be some dodging and weaving.
Okay.
I think probably these other candidates are gonna have to learn to take evasive action to avoid Biden's pucker.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I said pucker.
Ew. Yuck. I don't like that word either. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
What happened to Al and Donald? They used to be such good friends at 5:38.
And another unlikely duo, Bernie Sanders and Cardi B. And I'm not making this up. Oh, you have to hear this story. But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Clear skies, 67 degrees. Bad news if you're a Capital One customer this morning. The bank says they have a giant data breach, exposing information of about 100 million Americans and 6 million Canadians on 140,000 Social Security numbers, 80,000 bank account numbers, and personal information from credit card applications over the last 14 years have been compromised. The FBI has arrested a 33-year-old software engineer in Seattle on charges of computer fraud in connection with the hack. President Trump condemning the horrific shooting in Gilroy, California.
While families were spending time together at a local festival, a wicked murderer opened fire and killed 3 innocent citizens, including a young child.
At the White House yesterday, the president noting the nation grieves for the families of the victims. Police continue searching for a second shooting suspect they believe helped the man who killed 3 in Gilroy, California.
We did have reports of a potential second suspect. We don't have any confirmation that any second suspect did any shooting.
Gilroy's police chief. A second round of Democratic debates will host 20 presidential candidates. Debate number 1 set in Detroit tonight, as is debate number 2. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders and Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren will take center stage tonight. Night 2, former VP Joe Biden and California Senator Kamala Harris.
Which includes health care as opposed to the current president, who has spent practically full time trying to take health care away from American families.
The California senator's proposal would take health care from American families, already sponsored by private employers. A judge is ruling that NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell can be questioned under oath about last season's NFC Championship game. Attorney Antonio Lamont filed suit against the NFL regarding the missed pass interference call that hurt the Saints' chances of beating the Rams in January. Unless an appeal is successful, the depositions will occur in September. At 5:33, security a top priority for Chicago's Lollapalooza this week. Following the deadly shooting at the Garlic Festival in California, Mayor Lightfoot says they have a robust security plan in place. A man in critical condition found stabbed on a CTA Red Line train this morning on Chicago's north side. And the body of infamous bank robber John Dillinger is going to be exhumed. Dillinger, the FBI's public enemy number one back in the 1930s, took his gang and went on a bank robbing spree. His life of crime ended, of course, when he was gunned down in a shootout with the G-Men outside the Chicago Theater. He's buried in Indianapolis. His nephew, Michael Thompson, was granted a permit to have the body dug up, but did not give a reason. Cubs visit the Cardinals tonight. Sox welcome the Mets to Guaranteed Rate Field. 5:34. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity explains how to deal with evil.
I don't know what it is about the liberal mind that believes in appeasement somehow. We never learn the lessons of history. And money and bribery and appeasement and ass-kissing doesn't work. The only thing that evil will respond to is certain military force against them.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson, and I've got a quick, cost-effective way to protect and grow the value of your home this summer. Call the professionals at CertaPro Painters for interior and exterior painting. They painted the first floor of my home last year, and every time someone walks in, they always say, gosh, your house looks so much bigger. That's because one of their color specialists helped me pick out the perfect color. So boost your curb appeal this summer with a fresh coat of paint while protecting it from the heat, storms, and insects. Be proud to show off your house to your friends and neighbors. Their summer calendar has a few spots available, so secure yours now. Don't put it off. Time to hire CertaPro Painters, your residential and commercial painting experts. You can schedule a free estimate online at CertaPro.com, that's Certa with a C, or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Get a free estimate at CertaPro.com or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life.
Summer is here, and Matt's got the barbecue out all ready to grill. That's why he trusts Super Polygrip, so he can enjoy his steak with full confidence. Polygrip. Sounds like there's a party going on. But something's missing. The birthday gal's arrived. And thanks to Polydent, her bright smile is anything but a surprise. Polydent.
Liberty Mutual Insurance presents. When generic insurance takes hold, one handsome man and one flightless bird are teaming up to save the world. Money. Their message? Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need. Their mission? Savings. Their relationship? Best friends. Say hello to Liberty Mutual's new spokes team. And Doug.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Equal housing insurer. State laws apply.
Blue Emu supports healthy muscles and joints. Blue Emu works fast and you won't stink.
5:36 AM 560 Traffic Center time. Here is Jim Talamonte.
In University Park and Moni, Governor's Highway and University Parkway have reopened after they'd been closed due to the weekend train derailment. Downtown Chicago, stretches of Columbus and Ida B. Wells are now blocked off, along with Balboa and Jackson, the upcoming Lollapalooza. Inbound I-57. Traffic is jammed 119th to 111th, where everything is blocked right now. 111th to 107th to a major rollover collision. There are injuries involved. On Bishop Ford right now, you're looking at a 5 or 6 minute delay from 111th merge. Inbound Ride, about a 3-minute delay coming into downtown. In Kennedy look good. Inbound I tight, 17th to Des Plaines. Traffic, I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Sunny, beautiful, high 78, low humidities, mainly clear and 60 overnight, 67. At O'Hare, 71 lakefront. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Tasty Catering. Get top-tier catering at a budget-friendly price. Plan your party now at tastycatering.com.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And so Al Sharpton descended on Baltimore to help Trump inadvertently, because if you're on the outside of Al Sharpton, then you're in a good position, Al Sharpton, on Trump's criticism of Sharpton as, a fraud and a con man as he is.
As for his attacks on me personally, Donald Trump and I've known each other 25 years. I've marched on him with Central Park 5. I've dealt with him on the birther issue. He can say what he wants. Calls me a troublemaker. Yes, I make trouble for bigots. I made trouble for him with Central Park. I made trouble with him for birtherism. I'm going to keep making trouble for bigots. As far as me being a con man, if he really thought I was a con man, he'd be nominating me for his cabinet.
Ho, ho, ho! Yeah! Okay. All right.
So he doesn't believe that.
No.
Because if you remember, right after he was elected, he called me personally and asked me to come meet with him. And he sent Omarosa to come and meet with me. So he doesn't believe that, but he's playing a race divisive card. We are here to talk about how we build together and get something done.
That is really rich when you have Al Sharpton accusing somebody else of playing a race divisive card, but that's sort of the politics of our times, that somebody like that exists. Al, have you settled up with the IRS, by the way? How's Tawana Brawley doing?
Yeah, at least Tawana Brawley, that's good. And at least he hasn't out-eaten his lap band surgery. Remember the man he used to be?
It's true. He's slimmed down. So now on more serious matters, you actually had intelligent conversation on the topic of the situation in Baltimore. When Dr. Ben Carson appeared on Tucker Carlson show, Dr. Ben Carson, you remember, before being in politics, was the gifted hands, was pediatric neurosurgeon. He spent...
And I appreciate him.
He spent, yeah, right.
I had no idea what he did until you have to see a neurosurgeon in action, and wow.
And he knows something about where Democrats are debating tonight because he's from Detroit, and he spent a lot of time as a doctor helping children in Baltimore, and this is what he had to say.
Well, first of all, as a pediatric neurosurgeon, I spent many hours, sometimes operating all night long, trying to give children of Baltimore and other places around the world a second chance at life. And usually we were successful, but a few days later I was in a horrible dilemma because some of those kids had to go back into homes in East Baltimore that were infested with rats and roaches and ticks and mold and lead and violence, and I didn't want to send them back. Sometimes I would even consider, extra tests so they could stay in the hospital an extra day or two. But now, fortunately, God's given me an opportunity to do something about it. And that's one of the reasons I'm delighted to be in this administration. While I was there, I worked on a lot of issues with many politicians, including Elijah Cummings, particularly in terms of childhood education and improving the life of the people. I don't think Elijah Cummings is a bad person. I think he actually is working hard to try to help people. And I certainly don't think President Trump is a bad person. He's working very hard. And in fact, I asked him today, would you be willing to work with Elijah Cummings to bring some relief to the people of Baltimore? He said he would be happy to. But in the meantime, he's going to continue with the programs, like the opportunity zones, which get people to take money and invest it into the areas that are distressed. There are 149 of them in Maryland.
So a couple of things there. One, just Ben Carson's perspective on the kids, some of the kids that he treated in Baltimore. Remember, he was at Johns Hopkins.
Right.
And the circumstances he knew they were living in, which, of course, everybody knows.
Well, even the mayor, Fox 45 in Baltimore, did a neighborhood tour with her, and just listen to what she said about Baltimore.
About a year ago, city leaders identified some of the city's most violent neighborhoods.
What the hell?
We should just take all this down.
To target.
Ooh, you can smell the rats.
Under Baltimore's Violence Reduction Initiative.
Ooh, Jesus.
Just last week, we went with Mayor Pugh as she toured an East Baltimore neighborhood.
This a new one. I've been out here 54 years. This a new one.
Baltimore's Violence Reduction Initiative is about taking steps to rid communities of the cornerstones that contribute to crime.
Oh, my God, you can smell the dead animals.
Blocks of dilapidated buildings help to hide the addiction that's crippled this community.
Yeah, and then Catherine Pugh later went on to resign under a cloud of corruption. So there you go. So terrible political leadership from Nancy Pelosi's daddy forward, Democrats, for the last 50 years. And this is what Baltimore, the condition Baltimore is left in.
And you mentioned it yesterday. They have a higher crime rate and a higher homicide rate per capita than Chicago, which I wasn't aware of.
Also, Elijah Cummings, James Freeman and Best of the Web had this write-up yesterday. Elijah Cummings at a House subcommittee hearing in June of 1999. I live in a drug-infested neighborhood. Infested!
Why is that such a trigger word?
I know it's not a trigger word except when Trump uses it. It's the left, it's the hypocrisy.
I mean, the left is so triggered by it. Relax.
It's a show. I live in a drug-infested neighborhood, said Cummings. I know people have been trying to get treatment for years. I've known little girls who I've watched grow up from babies, and they're selling their bodies for $5 at 14 years old. I see them every day. I know the pain of coming home and seeing my home ransacked, my car broken into, because people are in so much pain, they don't even know they're in pain. So, Elijah, would you tell Elijah Cummings of 20 years ago that Baltimore's someplace, parts of Baltimore, someplace that nobody would want to live if they could choose? And how is that proceeded over the last 2 decades? Improved or not improved? 3 years later, a Baltimore woman named Angela Dawson was murdered along with her husband and 5 children after she sought police help to get drug dealers out of her neighborhood. Representative Elijah Cummings in 2002 on the House floor. More will be done. More must be done to protect families living in communities of fear. Drug gangs cannot be allowed to rule our court system through intimidation. Children should not fear stray bullets as they sit in front of their homes. Families await a day when they can sleep soundly, knowing that the drug gangs are no longer lurking within their community. Baltimore City's fight against these drug gangs is not a war America can afford to lose, and retreat is not an option. That was 2002. So where are we 17 years later? I mean, you could cut and paste Elijah Cummings' remarks and apply them to every mayor and every alderman and every governor and every other political hack that's lorded over Chicago and Illinois. And which direction are we going?
Well, speaking of mayors, Lori Lightfoot, Governor Pritzker, demanding that Trump be impeached.
You know, free speech exists in this country, but the president of the United States should be better than that. And this one, he deserves to be thrown out of office.
Yeah,
and everybody was clapping. Yay! Little
I think it's very clear this is what we're going to see through the closing of the polls in November of 2020. This is clearly the president's strategy.
And she said racism is a part of who he is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what else you got? What else you got, JB?
But people behind him were clapping, and it was sick. Like,
Well,
they live in a
of course they
different
do.
world.
They
They're
don't-
like, oh yeah, impeach Trump, yay!
They don't live in a different world.
They don't realize that President Trump, the job that he's doing, and what he's done.
You think people on those stages, those court jesters behind Jelly Belly, you think they don't know what the situation is in Chicago? You think Lori the Lightfoot doesn't know? This is willful. They're not ignorant. Willful. They are stepping over dead bodies. They are misdirecting away from bombed out neighborhoods for political reasons. They obsess about race because that's all they have. What is the success you're going to point to? What is the response to a question that will never get asked by the Chicago Press Corps? Your party has been in charge for 100 years. We've pursued every policy that your party wanted to pursue. It's the same policies you're suggesting we continue to pursue, only in more grand fashion. And what has been the result? Is there room for improvement, or is that sort of a insulting euphemism for the situation in some of these neighborhoods for mostly minority families? Which is it? I mean, the moral indignation, listening to moral indignation from morally bankrupt politicians, is there anything more pointless? These people are barbarians. They see other people and other people's suffering as means to political ends, as the means to build their power, as the means to avoid having to tell the truth, as the means to avoid having to admit failure, as the means to avoid having to pursue a different course. And we're supposed to clap along. And we're supposed to thank the media for showing up to their self-indulgent press conferences. That's why I say this state and so many urban centers around the country that are lorded over by politicians of a similar disposition are death cults. They are cults. Death cults. No different than Heaven's Gate. And the leaders of these death cults don't give the least amount of care for their cultists, their followers, any more than Jim Jones or any other cult leader, David Koresh, any other cult leader did.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, it's Mark Olson.
And Greg Olson.
The boys from Crumweedy Home Pros.
Call Crumweedy! Yep, that's us.
Listen, we know it was a horrible winter.
Followed by a horrible spring.
You may have held off thinking about getting your project done with the crazy weather we've had, but we want you to know we prepared for that.
Our pros are ready to work overtime if needed to get your project done before the next horrible winter.
No, not another rough winter. This past one was bad enough.
Call us today, and we'll get it done right, and we'll get it done now.
Call Crumweedy!
Whoa, guys, don't forget, we offer 12 months, same as cash. Now, go ahead, carry on.
Roofs, gutters, windows, and siding.
You know you can trust Crumweedy to do a great job and give you a fair price.
630-595-8020.
And watch out for the door-to-door fly-by-night guys. Here today, gone forever. You deserve better.
Call us now for special offers on roofs, windows, siding, and gutters.
Call Crumweedy!
630-595-8020.
Crumweedy Home Pros. We're ready.
It's Health Quest Radio, Chicagoland's longest-running health, news, and science show with your host, Dr. David Kolbaba.
You know, people who age slower live longer. It's our dirt cheap age analysis assessment. We can compare your biologic age with your chronologic age to determine how fast you're aging. Just a few seconds to safely scan for those advanced glycation end products that cause premature aging. And I'll pay for your first assessment. That's right, your first one is free. Then we'll give you a few things to do and retest in 60 days. It's our dirt cheap age analysis assessment. But you gotta call our Health Quest radio hotline at 800-794-1855. That's 800-794-1855. First one free if you make that call right now. Some conditions and restrictions do apply. It's our dirt cheap age analysis assessment. Call 800-794-1855. It's Health Quest Radio with me, Dr. David Kolbaba, this Saturday morning at 11.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Kevin Bastuga, co-founder of Signature Bank. If you get the feeling your deposits don't matter to your bank, then maybe you're not with the right bank. At Signature Bank, your deposits matter to us as much as your business loans. Signature provides unmatched banking expertise, custom financial solutions, and the industry's best technology to closely held Chicagoland businesses. Whether your business is looking for a deposit relationship, or needs a ready source for financing, Signature Bank is the right bank for you. Call us today to see how Signature Bank can help your business grow and thrive.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
There's an urgent need for first responders right now and right here in the Chicagoland area. Start a new, meaningful career, providing a valuable life-saving service, and make a difference by helping others. Get your EMT training and certification from Elite Ambulance at emtnow.org. Experience a new and rewarding career as a professional emergency medical technician with training and certification at emtnow.org. Sign up today for first responder EMT courses with Elite Ambulance courses. They make it easy with day and evening classes starting soon. Offered at multiple locations: Elgin, Hickory Hills, Naperville, Orland Park, and Schiller Park. Take the first step and become a qualified EMT, emergency medical technician. The second step, a more advanced paramedic. And third step, firefighter. Log on to emtnow.org for complete details and EMT training courses starting soon. Sign up now before classes fill up. Start your new career making a difference as a first responder. Go to emtnow.org. That's emtnow.org.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Pastor Bill Owens, who's on Trump's Council of Black Ministers, was part of a meeting of black ministers with Trump yesterday. And he indulged Don Lemon on CNN. This was a really fun interview. Don Lemon spending the entire time trying to get Bill Owens to say that Trump is a racist. And when Bill Owens wouldn't do that, Don Lemon attacked Bill Owens.
I can't wait to hear it.
When he went back and said, well, you opposed gay marriage back during the Obama administration. You disagreed with Obama on gay marriage. And so he went off on this tangent to try and, so why should anybody listen to you, Bill Owens, to try and impugn Bill Owens' character because Bill Owens wouldn't play along. He wouldn't play the script. Lemon started by asking Owens, if this whole meeting of black ministers yesterday at the White House was just to insulate Trump from criticism. Here's what Owens said.
Did anybody there raise concerns about what he has been saying lately about people like Elijah Cummings or anyone?
Well, that was not the purpose of the meeting today. Today the meeting was how can we help the black community? That is my concern. That was the purpose of the meeting. That is the reason I came to Washington, and that is my focus, helping our inner city young people especially, our children, our young people.
Any concern for you that the president used this meeting with black leaders to insulate himself from that criticism?
I don't think so. I don't think that at all because I've been to the White House 4 times in 5 months. So it was nothing about insulating him from anything. He wanted to hear from us what our concerns were and what he could do to help us.
And then, of course, he pressed the issue, how is Trump not racist with the tweets he's made and the targets he's chosen.
You think it's hard to believe that Trump is racist, but he's repeatedly used racially charged language. He consistently attacks black and brown elected leaders. So why is that hard to believe, Pastor?
Well, I find President Trump leaders of all colors. He attacks who he will. He's his own man, and I can't dictate what he should or should not do, but he does not just attack black people. He attacks anybody, and you know it.
Yeah, like Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren. I mean, the list goes on. And when Reverend was leaving the White House, reporters were shouting at him.
I find it hard to believe. When you consider the things that have been done for the black community.
You believe today was an attempt at damage control by President Trump?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, was it a planned meeting before this happened with Reverend Al Sharpton or with Elijah Cummings? I don't know. I don't know what his schedule was, but as Reverend Owen said, he's been to the White House 4 or 5 times lately. So President Trump's business. He's not racist. He says things about every politician. But if you were, you use the word infested and you're attacking a person of color, as they say, which I can't stand that, a brown or black person, that it's racist. It's not.
The whole person of color thing is interesting.
I hate it.
Shelby Steele referenced that. He's in a talk he gave over the weekend I was at the other weekend. And he said, do you know how dehumanizing that is?
Oh.
And he traced what he's been called over the course of his life, from a black boy in the south side of the city all the way to now a senior citizen living in California. And he said, I would rather be called a Negro than a person of color. Person of color is dehumanizing.
It's disgusting.
Well, it's the solidarity and marginality rap that Don Lemon tries his best, even though he doesn't have the intellectual capacity to do so, to advance during his turn at the wheel on CNN. And I'm sure Jeff Zucker is trying to as well. We know that Jeff Zucker is perhaps in the tank for Kamala Harris. Wonder if that'll come up at tonight's debate too. Jeff Zucker squiring Kamala Harris around the president of CNN, introducing her to bigwigs and prospective donors and the like. I wonder how much that will be part of the conversation. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just, but they obviously the DC press corps has elevated Mayor Pete to a status he wouldn't be. Freaking failed mayor of South Bend, goodness sakes, as a presidential candidate. He wouldn't be anywhere without the DC press corps grabbing onto him and propping him up. So we'll see if sort of the media treatment continues in one direction or a couple, or maybe there's a moment tonight that changes, and we'll pick that up at 6:06.
But first now, let's go into the newsroom, catch up with news here at home and around the world. The one, the only, Mike Scott. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Amy and Dana. Security, a top priority at Lollapalooza. Crystal Lake seeks to destroy the home of A.J. Friend. John Dillinger to be exhumed. We may tell you why. Cubs and Cardinals tonight. White Sox host the Mets. Bears training camp continues. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
He should probe himself. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Trump continuing to tweet about Baltimore, the city he called disgusting and rat-infested, and a congressman he calls racist. Fox's Rachel Sutherland, live in Washington.
Dave, he says he should investigate himself. That from President Trump about Congressman Elijah Cummings, suggesting money for his district, which includes Baltimore, was stolen or wasted. He went on to tweet, Baltimore's numbers are the worst in the United States on crime and the economy. People who call Baltimore home say the city, which is 53% black, bears no resemblance to the place the president has been describing. The White House has said President Trump's remarks about the city and its leadership have nothing to do with race. Dave?
Rachel, 10 Democrats may call the president a racist tonight when the next round of Democratic presidential debates starts. 10 candidates take the stage in Detroit, including Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. Tomorrow, 10 more will debate, including Joe Biden, who is still the front runner, getting 34% in a new Quinnipiac poll. Warren second with 15%. A vigil in California.
We are survivors. We are Gilroy Strong.
She was at Sunday's Garlic Festival shooting when 2 kids and an adult were murdered. The gunman killed by police had posted white supremacist views online. There's been another big theft of Americans' personal information.
Paige Thompson was arrested yesterday and appeared in federal court. Prosecutors claim that she got access to about 100 million Capital One customers' data through a misconfigured firewall. 100 million people. According to the bank, 140,000 Social Security numbers were compromised, as well as 80,000 bank account numbers from credit card customers.
Fox's Rob Schmidt. A Billboard record has just been broken. Little Nas X's hit song, number 1 on the Hot 100 for 17th straight week, breaking a record. Mariah Carey's One Sweet Day set in the 90s, and Despacito tied 2 years ago. This is Fox News.
Skies are clear. We have 67 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. An investigation is underway after a woman was found dead in a suburban Park Ridge home. Police say the discovery was made yesterday in the 1900 block of South Cortland Avenue. Authorities have not revealed cause of death, but did say it was suspicious. Security is a top priority at Chicago's Lollapalooza this week, following a deadly shooting at a garlic festival in California. Mayor Lori Lightfoot says she's confident a robust security plan is in place to protect those who attend the annual music festival.
We are vigorously, aggressively reaching out planning and drawing upon resources from our federal partners to make sure that there's no incident that happens here in Chicago.
A man is in critical condition after he was found stabbed on a CTA Red Line train on Chicago's north side. Police say it happened early this morning in the 7600 block of North Paulina when an unknown person stabbed that victim in the chest. The victim then boarded a southbound Red Line train at Howard Station and rode it for 2 stops before he was found by first responders. Chicago man is due in bond court today after his 3-year-old was killed in an accidental shooting over the weekend on the far south side. Ronald Davis is charged with endangerment leading to the death and unlawful use of a weapon by a felon. The body of infamous bank robber John Dillinger is going to be exhumed. Dillinger, of course, was gunned down in a shootout with G-men outside of a Chicago theater in the 1930s. His nephew, Michael Thompson, was granted a permit to dig the body up, but does not have a reason yet. Cubs visit the division rival Cardinals tonight. Sox welcome the Mets to Guaranteed Rate Field. The news service of the T.J. Martell Foundation. Join the T.J. Martell Foundation in the fight against leukemia, cancer, and AIDS. Visit tjmartell.org to learn more about music's promise for a cure. 6:04, check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity sees people's selective memory.
They didn't care about the exoneration of Hillary. That's why they never made a big deal about Hillary Clinton deleting subpoenaed emails and using bleach bit and hammers to get rid of the evidence. Yeah, real obstruction of justice. They only care about obstruction if they can say it's Donald Trump, selective moral outrage.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
When the sand gets hot, you gotta move fast, like a dog chasing a Frisbee. Move just as fast to the Ford Hurry Up and Save sales event. Because for the first time ever, you can get 20% estimated savings on select Ford vehicles. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. Don't let this hot deal on America's best-selling brand pass you by. Get into the Ford Hurry Up and Save sales event. Based on 2010 through 2018 calendar year sales. Modem must be activated within 60 days of purchase through the Ford Pass app on a smartphone and remain active for at least 6 months after activation. Eligible on select 2019 model year vehicles. Vehicle must have arrived at dealer at least 61 days prior to the sale date. Estimated savings include an average dealer discount based on a sales survey of average discounts offered by Ford dealers nationally. Discount may vary. Dealer determines price. For all offers, take new retail delivery from an authorized Ford dealer stocked by 9/3/19. See participating dealer for complete details.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7, along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. The storm season is here. Plan ahead. Call now to prepare generators for sudden damage and potential power outages. Call 630-834-6000. That's 630-834-6000 or charlesequipment.com. charlesequipment.com.
It's easier to change the world than you think. Sponsor a child in extreme poverty with Compassion International, and you will change the world for that child. Just text the word child to 83393 to sponsor right now.
6:07 AM 560 traffic center time. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Inbound I-57 traffic is stop and go from 119th to around 107th. There was an earlier crash in that area which had everything shut down. All lanes are now open. We're looking at about 23 minutes from I-80 to the Verge. Bishop Ford, a little heavier, 25 minutes. 80-94 to the Rhine. With scattered delays, the Rhine is running 24 minutes from 95th to downtown. The Edens is fine. The eastbound spur is tight from the Tri-State to Waukegan Road. Kennedy, I think 23 minutes, so Hare to downtown, outbound 22. Inbound Eisenhower, 35 minutes, 390 to the Bird Circle. Outbound 30, Stevenson, 47 minutes, 3:55 to the drive up on 43 with a crash before LaGrange Road. It's traffic. I'm Jim Telemonkey on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. From our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center, our meteorologist Steve Williams.
A nice day today, sunny to partly cloudy skies. The high today 78. Mainly clear tonight with a low near 60. For tomorrow and Thursday, mostly sunny, pleasant for both days. High tomorrow 77. Thursday's high 80. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Early sunshine, 67 at O'Hare. Next news, 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by In the Know with Wealth Management Group, hosted by Craig Bolanos. Heard Sunday mornings at 10.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We've mentioned this case before, but it is coming up for oral arguments in October. And it has the potential to be one of those watershed moments. Are we going to eliminate gender, eliminate sex, the way that we redefine marriage out of existence? In October, the Supreme Court's going to hear a case on whether federal civil rights law protects transgender status. It's a case involving this funeral home, Harris Funeral Home, which was established in 1910, multi-generational family business in the Detroit area. 5-generation family business. Its fate is in the hands of the Supreme Court. The issue, if you'll recall, was a male employee who had agreed to and followed the funeral home's gender-specific dress code for more than 6 years, wanted to, after 6 years, start showing up to work dressed as a woman.
Okay, I remember this.
And that was a problem. This is a valued employee. So the owner, Tom Ross, spent some time thinking about what to do. He also had to consider the rest of the staff, including an 80-year-old female employee who would be sharing a women's restroom facility with the male employee who's going to pretend to be a woman. Finally, he realized that he couldn't agree with this, and even though his decision was in line with federal law, the EEOC sued the funeral home. And now this has been leveled up to the Supreme Court for consideration. So here we go again. What are the implications of this? The pronoun usage that we roll our eyes about, and the bathroom policy and locker room policy that I guess most people just roll their eyes or allow themselves to be rolled over. The implication is, oh, by the way, the government's going to take away your business. Do we have your attention now?
So comply or die, right? I mean, we don't know how do you think they're going to vote? Roberts, what do you think?
Tom Ross explaining.
We just want to serve families well.
And to create the best environment for them.
Local pastor and administrative assistant who works for the funeral home, opining on the matter.
Harris Funeral Home is the gold standard. The reputation is strong because of years of faithfulness in caring for people.
This is a family-owned business. It's been around for forever, and generations after generations have worked so hard to keep this business running. And Tom takes pride and does just what his family did.
This has been our life business, and I do reflect back on my grandfather and great-grandfather, my dad and my uncle, and there is that legacy, and I feel that need to carry that legacy on.
If the government lets him, the cultural Marxists pushing the government not to. The attorney representing the Harris Funeral Home from Alliance for Defending Freedom described the case.
This case is not simply about employment policy. It's much bigger than that. Tom was concerned about lots of people, but he's kind of caught up in this cultural windstorm on this issue where the courts are seeking to redefine the meaning of sex, and that has all kinds of negative consequences, especially for Tom and the multi-generational business that he has, but also for the equal opportunity and privacy of women and girls and others. And this has a huge impact for everybody.
So the battle is being joined somewhat. I mean, we talked to a woman up in Canada who's filed a complaint about a kindergarten teacher telling her daughter that there's no such thing as male and female. It's just, what you feel. You have litigation in New England over men competing in girls' track events.
Yeah, in Connecticut.
So, yeah, somewhat. The battle's been joined. This is good. This is a huge case in October. Huge case. And I'm not sure that people truly appreciate the elimination of gender. And I know they don't appreciate sort of the philosophical foundings of this whole movement, that they've sort of surrendered in one moment so they can set themselves up to surrender in the next moment. It's very much like the Illinois Republican Party. We're going to give up on this issue so that we can retreat and then give up on the next issue that you want to force down our throats. That's exactly what's happening. We've seen it in school districts, with curriculum, with locker room policy, even with employee policy. You want to allow every aspect of your life to be politicized. It's what every totalitarian regime does. And oh, by the way, or totalitarian individuals seeking such a regime, which is what cultural Marxists are and what they seek. Oh, and in other news, can't say this enough because it's so remarkable. The Chicago Teachers Union sends a delegation sends a delegation of Maduroistas to Venezuela to see how the communists run their communes, the schools in their communes there. One area vice president, her name's Sarah Chambers, saying, despite the economic hardships in Venezuela, as if they were visited upon Venezuela by an outside force, Maduro never closed a school.
Oh, shut up.
Chicago public school teachers
On a fact-finding mission to Venezuela?
On Venezuelan soil, lauding a totalitarian, murderous dictator. And then they're coming back to teach your kids. Seriously. So what to do about these cases? And the desire by the left, the cultural Marxists, to expand the law to contract individual freedom, economic freedom, religious freedom. Does this move you at all to perhaps be a little bit more outspoken within your circles of influence when you see these sorts of confrontations appear? The Masterpiece Cake Shop, Arlene's Flowers. When it comes to your neighborhood or your school, what are you going to do? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 646-36DA, turnkey.pro text line. When they come to take your business, in this case, think about a family business, 5 generations. When they come to take your business, your property, what are you going to do? Comply.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636, type in DA, then a quick comment. I'm looking at this picture of this Chicago Teachers Union delegation in Venezuela. I thought it was a parody or a joke at first. And they're really saying Viva Venezuela, Viva Maduro. Sickening.
I mean, we've been here before. This is not new. Nothing in this world is new. It's only the history we don't know. These are the same people in the 1980s who were praising the Soviet Union, who are decrying Ronald Reagan for referring to the godless communist totalitarians as the evil empire, criticizing Reagan for that. I mean, frankly, one of them is a leading presidential candidate for the Democrat Socialists today, of course, Bernie Sanders, who just couldn't get over their wonderful puppet shows and how affordable they were and their lovely chandeliers. Never mind the gulags. Never mind the death at the hands of the government. Death squads. So it's not new, but it shouldn't be ignored. What are you going to do? Amundsen High School. What are you going to do with the teachers there about this?
I'm looking to see if I know any of these teachers who went on this fact-finding mission.
Doesn't matter if you know them or not. The question.
Well, I have to join. I mean, I'm now a paid employee with the Chicago Union or Chicago CPS, and I have to decide whether or not to join the union, which I am not going to join this silliness.
Yeah, but what are parents going to say? You don't have to have one of these Maduroistas in your school to comment on it, particularly if you have kids in the school, do you? Who's saying anything about this in Chicago?
No one's even talking about this.
Nobody. Well, I know.
I didn't know about it until you. And now
Nobody
I'm looking
pays
at
attention.
So this trip to Venezuela that I.
So what are you going to do about people you finance and you green light teaching children who are spending their time running propaganda for a totalitarian dictator in Venezuela? What the hell? We pay Chicago public school teachers. Oh, and by the way, when they come back, they're going to demand their 15% raise over 3 years, or you're going to face hell for it. I mean, are you serious? And this doesn't motivate anybody. You know why? Because 85% of CPS students are in free or reduced school lunches. It's mostly poor families. And to the extent that there are any white families, frankly, and upper income families there are places like Peyton Prep and the magnet schools. So they don't care.
Yeah, the selective enrollment.
So I mean, again, you don't have to have exposure to one of these formally declared Maduroistas. I'm sure there are others who are fellow travelers in your school as well. There's certainly others in public office. What say? Anybody going to ask your alderman about this? Anybody going to ask Janice Jackson? She's about to speak at the City Club this week or next week. The CEO of CPS. Anybody going to ask Jesse Sharkey? He's a self-avowed socialist. Anybody going to ask Lori the Lightfoot? You going to go to teachers at your schools? How about your local school council?
I go
puppets.
To those
Anybody going to bring this up?
I don't even know the people that I know that are on LSC know about this either.
So what? Is that some kind of excuse?
No.
So bring it up to them, and then what? And then what are you going to say?
What the hell's going on? They probably don't even know about it.
I mean,
they probably didn't know that they were taking the trip or had to approve it.
I just want to understand. I mean,
our tax dollars paid for this fact-finding mission.
No, they had a GoFundMe page. Love to see the contributors to their GoFundMe page. It wasn't taxpayer paid for.
Okay.
They raised money. Love to see who contributed to that. I think I know what the answer is because I've said it before, but just exactly what the hell do people care about in this death cult of a city and state? You don't care about your kids' education. You don't care about safety in your neighborhoods or safety in the neighborhoods. You pretend, if you don't live in the violent neighborhoods, you pretend to care about them. Do you? You don't care about services for people with developmental and intellectual disabilities, because if you did, we wouldn't be one of the worst in the nation, despite having the highest state local tax burden, the largest unfunded pension liabilities, the worst credit rating in the nation. So you don't care about that. Obviously, you don't care about economic vitality. I mean, what the hell do people care about in the city? I have no idea. The Cubs? Care about the Cubs?
No.
Care about...
That's over. They already won the World Series.
Care about the Cubs. That's fun. You care about, other breads and circuses, Cubs and Bears and Blackhawks and running along the beach.
No, they're second homes. That's where everyone goes. Everyone's with money. No one's here.
What the
No
hell?
one was here last year during the whole sex scandal because everyone who was at their summer homes in Indiana,
Right.
Wisconsin, Michigan.
No, well, everyone's not there. There's 13 million people in this state. There's 8 million people in the region. Everyone is not in Wisconsin, Michigan within their summer home because not everybody has a summer home. Very few people do. So that's no excuse. And by the way, we have the internet now. You can pay attention to what's happening in Chicago from Wisconsin and Michigan. So, I mean, I want to know what the hell people care about. You don't care about kids being sexually abused by predators and CPS. I got that. Okay. What is it? I don't know. David in McCook, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, guys. A recurring theme with these transgenders is they all want, if you want to dress like a girl or whatever, I don't think anybody cares, but when they don't get their way with the bathrooms, the cake thing, the guy at the funeral home, they just want to cause problems for others. They can't just accept it and move on. They got to bring grief into everyone else's lives.
Well, that's the whole point. Thanks for the call, David. Why do people not see this? This is, you understand, I mean, maybe not for every single person, just like every single gay person isn't part of the gay rights movement trying to redefine marriage. I get it. But the movement itself, where the power resides to move attitude and public policy, it's all purposeful. Why is Masterpiece Cake Shop being sued and litigated, multiple times, even after the Supreme Court decision in their favor, in his favor, Jack Phillips's favor? Why do they go to that place? Because they knew, and demand the cake be made because they knew. It's purposeful.
They're agitators.
They're cultural Marxists. This is not live and let live. It never has been. Not a single aspect of it. Not the sexual revolution that was actually started in the 1920s philosophically and metastasized in the 1960s, and everything that has flowed from that Pandora's box that we opened. It's been purposeful. It is predatory. It is expansionist. They lead with live and let live because they can't sell predatory. Of course. I mean, good grief. How dense are people? I have no idea what's going on around me. Oh, the water's up to my neck now. I hope it stops. Oh, it's up almost to my nose. I hope it stops. What's going on here? It's like somebody's trying to drown me. Freaking dingbats. Candace in Mount Pleasant, Wisconsin.
Dan Proft, I love you. That is the best speech. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm really upset, Amy, because why are more parents not more outraged that their kids are being taken into this non-gender nonsense? It is so insidious and sickening. And I see literally almost zero outrage. And another thing is, there's never been a more ripe time for a more takeover by the GOP of public education. Never a better time than right now with these two issues. The trans, there are no sexes nonsense, which 99.9% parents, I think, is disgusting, but they're not being told anything about it. And then this other thing, this other subject. So, I mean, I don't understand what Betsy DeVos is doing. I wish she'd be she's a little meek and a little bit mouse. And I think that Trump needs like an atom bomb, in that department, and he's not getting it. But there's never been a more ripe time. And I personally think I wish the military could take over our public education.
Well, thanks for the call, Kansas. I don't know about the military, but I like the idea. Michael Steele said, but Mr. Trump come to Baltimore, President Trump come to Baltimore. I mean, I wouldn't go with Michael Steele. He's a flim-flammer too, but I like the idea. Go to the urban centers and talk about school choice and talk about the opportunity zones that Dr. Ben Carson was talking about on Tucker last night. Yeah, I'd love to see Trump do an urban center tour, including in the quote-unquote Trump-free zones like Chicago. Try and keep him out.
He should come here. I mean, he tried that one time. They had to cancel his event.
Tom in Deer Park. Yeah, UIC.
Yeah, when you said metastasized about the movement, I almost hung up because it's pretty hard to follow up after that. That was rather succinct, but my call was that, remembering in the old days when a mob or the mob wanted to muscle in on a legitimate business, they did it for financial reasons, but they used the threat of violence to gain their force, and it's very effective. Now, this is my analogy, that the left is using it, and they're using the power of the state through the courts to close down legitimate businesses and gaslight us at the same time to make us think that this is like the way it is because we're bigots if we don't. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it's not. It is accurate. Thanks for the call, Tom. But it's not just the courts, although that's the force of law. That's the arm of the state. That's a terrible problem. But then, of course, control of all the cultural and civic institutions, too, is key.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Is your old AC a clunker? Does it clunk, leak, or make weird noises? Could be it's on its way out. Luckily, the highly trained techs at your local 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning will replace your AC with new top-tier equipment. And isn't that what you want to hear? Right now, get big savings on a complete cooling system. Call 855-1-HOUR.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1 Hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
Summer is here, and Matt's got the barbecue out all ready to grill. That's why he trusts Super Polygrip, so he can enjoy his steak with full confidence.
Polygrip.
Sounds like there's a party going on. But something's missing. The birthday gal's arrived. And thanks to Polydent, her bright smile is anything but a surprise.
Polydent.
Do you want to learn how to make money with income properties without becoming a landlord right here in Chicago? If so, we have an amazing opportunity for you. We're looking for a small group of motivated individuals to join our real estate investing team. You'll learn our simple 5-step system for finding multifamily properties right here in the local area. We here at RE Mentor are the leading providers of apartment investing training in the country, and our team is looking for a handful of people in the Chicago area who want to learn how to make money with multifamily properties in your spare time using other people's money. Chicago is the perfect market for our system, and we'll be holding a free 2-hour educational workshop where you'll learn how to make money and build long-term wealth with multifamily income properties. To get 2 free tickets to the RE Mentor Workshop, call 800-470-2064. Seating is extremely limited. Call right now because this free ticket offer expires this Friday. That's 800-470-2064. That's 800-470-2064.
AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
6:36, Peter Wood, President of the National Association of Scholars, will join us. We'll go over the reading list to re-educate your child to be anti-capitalist before they go off to college. We've got a book list for that. And also we'll ask him if Felicity Huffman should be in prison.
And later, no, sorry, you cannot fly with that. We'll explain, but first into the newsroom we go. No, sorry, not going to fit in the overhead bin there, buddy.
That's good.
Thank you.
Blue skies and sunshine on AM 560, The Answer. 67 degrees, and here are the stories we're following this morning. A security breach, a major one at Capital One this month, exposed information of about 100 million Americans and 6 million Canadians. 20 Democrat presidential candidates will be on stage in Detroit, round 2 of debates. The next 2 nights, New York City's Mayor Bill de Blasio hopes to discuss a new kind of topic at the debates.
Democrats lost in 2016. Why? We should be asking ourselves this question. This is really what these debates should be about in Detroit. Why do we lose and what do we do differently?
Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren center stage tonight. Authorities in Northern California releasing the identities of 3 shot and killed at the Gilroy Garlic Festival Sunday. Gilroy Mayor Roland Velasco says the community's thoughts are with those who were killed.
People of Gilroy are strong. We're resilient. The Gilroy community will mourn, but we will get through it.
A vigil last night honored Stefan Romero, 13-year-old Kayla Salazar, and 25-year-old Trevor Irby. 2 American soldiers are dead after being targeted by a member of the Afghan security forces. The gunman shot and taken into custody by Afghan forces. An investigation continues after a woman was found dead in suburban Park Ridge. Police have made the discovery in a home yesterday in the 1900 block of South Cortland Avenue and say the death is suspicious. Chicago man is due in bond court today after his 3-year-old was killed in an accidental shooting over the weekend on the far south side. Ronald Davis is charged with endangerment leading to death. A man from Wilmington died on a flight from Iceland to O'Hare. Paramedics and police were called to the Icelander plane late Sunday night. Emergency responders tried to revive the man on the plane but were unable to. Chicago police are now conducting a death investigation. Cubs and Cards tonight. Sox and Mets at guaranteed rate. The news service of Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Your grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline, 877-MAD-HELP-MAD.org. 6:33. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Gas prices in Illinois have gone up. Way up.
Fill her up.
Thanks to Governor Pritzker and our lawmakers in Springfield. You're probably feeling some pain at the pump. Well, AM 560 and Croggy's Mobile Service Center in Addison want to ease your pain by giving you a $50 gas card. That's right, $50 to fill up your tank at any Exxon Mobil station. To enter for your chance to win, go to 560theanswer.com/gas.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson, and I've got a quick, cost-effective way to protect and grow the value of your home this summer. Call the professionals at CertaPro Painters for interior and exterior painting. They painted the first floor of my home last year, and every time someone walks in, they always say, gosh, your house looks so much bigger. That's because one of their color specialists helped me pick out the perfect color. So boost your curb appeal this summer with a fresh coat of paint while protecting it from the heat, storms, and insects. Be proud to show off your house to your friends and neighbors. Their summer calendar has a few spots available, so secure yours now. Don't put it off. Time to hire CertaPro Painters, your residential and commercial painting experts. You can schedule a free estimate online at CertaPro.com, that's Certa with a C, or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Get a free estimate at CertaPro.com or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
While I'm searching for the perfect balance, there's hundreds of thousands of chemicals just in an apple alone, and hundreds of thousands in an orange, and all of them. If I can just remove the water without damaging all of the other chemistry, then I can pack it more dense. I never imagined that I would be able to get it down to 3 fruit capsules and 3 vegetable capsules and have the same nutrient value as eating over 10 servings of fruits and vegetables every day.
Experience the difference for yourself. Receive 25% off your first preferred purchase of Balance of Nature. Plus, get a set of convenient travel bottles containing a free additional week supply of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. You will still receive free shipping on every order. This is a limited offer and may end at any time. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
It is 6:36 on AM 560. Time for a dry basement and a healthy home. It's time to call Permaseal 800-421-SEAL. Let's get a check of the roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jim Telemonte.
Traffic at O'Hare is heavy on westbound 190 this morning from the Kennedy Expressway to Manheim. On the Kennedy, looking at inbound delays starting at Cumberland. It's 25 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 26. Eden's 20 minutes, Lake Cook to the junction. Eisenhower, 45 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound 33. Stevenson is already an hour and 2 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 46 minutes. The crash before LaGrange Road on the right shoulder. Inbound Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 26 minutes, I-80 to the merge. Bishop 435. The northbound Tri-State has heavy traffic. Plainfield Road to the Hinsdale Oasis. And from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue, eastbound I-80 is tight. Galbert to 30. That's traffic. I'm Jim Telemonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next in our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Sunny to partly cloudy. It is a beautiful day, setting of 78 for a high temp and low humidities on the day. 60 overnight, 77 tomorrow. Currently 67 at O'Hare, 71 Lakeside. Next news at 7, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Experience the many restaurants of Seven Bridges on the evening of August 8th at the Golf Club in Woodridge, Illinois. Aside from great tastings and treats, Sample Seven Bridges will have prize drawings and DJ entertainment throughout the evening. Visit chambers630.com to register.
They got the beat, the campus beat, the campus beat. Yeah, the campus beat.
Yeah, and I got a deal for you. Give up custody of your kids and get financial aid for their college. That's a story that ProPublica has produced, focusing on U of I. Parents giving up legal guardianship of their children during their junior or senior year in high school to someone else, a friend, an aunt, a cousin, or a grandparent. The guardianship status then allows students to declare themselves financially independent so they can qualify for federal, state, and university aid. It's a scam, said Andy Borst, who's the director of admissions at U of I.
DCFS should investigate. DCFS should take their kids away permanently. You want to play that game? Really? There's 40 families in Lake County that did this. They gave up custody of their kids, gave them to a grandma or an uncle or a distant cousin so they could allegedly live in their home in poverty situation or what's below the poverty line so that they could get a break on tuition at University of Illinois?
Well, it's not necessarily a poverty situation.
Well,
it's just not a situation where they're in a wealthier environment so they can qualify for more aid and grants and the like. So, yeah, it's another way to scam the system, but that's what we like to do. I mean, the government here is, including the colleges and the financing, is a scam. So when you live in a kleptocracy, everybody becomes a kleptocrat.
40 guardianship cases between January 2018 and June 2019 in Lake County alone. Parents involved in these cases include lawyers, a doctor, and an assistant school superintendent, as well as an insurance and real estate agents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, with U of I having the second highest in-state tuition in the Big Ten, any way you can to chop it down, right? I mean, that's what you learn. I go back again to say, kleptocracy breeds kleptocrats. And so we're going to get upset with these parents, but not the politicians who set up the Ponzi schemes, who subsidize the second highest in-state tuition in the Big Ten at U of I. I mean, it's easy to heap scorn on the wealthy exploiting loopholes because they're sophisticated enough to figure it out. What about the loophole makers?
I want some names.
Yeah. What about the system setter-uppers?
Yeah, that's true. Oh, by the way, ProPublica reached out to 15 of the parents. None of them agreed to speak on the record. Some hung up on them. Others declined to comment and demanded anonymity. Oh, I don't think they should have it. I want to know who the assistant superintendent is, who was part of this scam.
Well,
they should lose their job. Why don't they risk the possibility? This is fraud of going to jail, just like Felicity Huffman or what's her name, and those other parents who got their kids into elite schools and USC.
Well, because it's not clear that what they did is illegal. It's clear it's a loophole. What's illegal about it?
Because it's fraudulent. They gave up custody
What
of their
is
kids.
illegal about it? You're allowed to do that. What's illegal about it?
What mom with teenage kids doesn't want to give up their kid? But
Right.
What's the reasoning behind them giving up their kid?
You're allowed to do it.
All right. Okay. All right.
So it's a little bit more complicated than that. But that's where we're at in terms of
Morally
college
indignant.
admissions and college financing. Yeah. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line 64636DA, turnkey.pro, text line. How many people would cut that deal? Maybe just give up the custody of their kids for nothing in return, as you point out. Just
because they're teenagers and it's hard.
This is so this also brings up the Varsity Blues admission scandal and Felicity Huffman, and people want to make an example of her and send her to prison. See, I'd rather focus more on things coming out of California, like the education department in that state that's issued an ethics. That would be funny.
That is what he did.
Ethnic Studies model curriculum, soliciting public comments until the middle of August. It's a resource for teachers who want to instruct their students in the field of ethnic studies, which of course shouldn't exist, and was written by an advisory board of teachers, academics, and bureaucrats. And as the Wall Street Journal opines, you can think how bad that you could imagine that to be, and it's worse than that. An interdisciplinary study of race, ethnicity, and indigeneity with an emphasis on experiences of people of color in the United States, and so on and so forth. A lot of fashionable academic jargon like positionalities and hybrides and misogynoir. Oh, gosh, it's like narrative sharing. That's the new thing. You're not reasoning, we narrative share on college campuses. Capitalism is described as a form of power and oppression alongside patriarchy, racism, white supremacism, as well as ableism, of course. So capitalists and capitalism probably not going to be part of that forthcoming ethnic studies model curriculum that I'm sure will sweep across the Golden Gate State. For more on all of these topics, trying to find silver linings in the state of affairs on college campuses is a challenge. We're joined by Peter Wood, president of the National Association of Scholars. Peter, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning.
What about this latest iteration of work in the system for your kid that we were describing, the give up guardianship, get financial aid?
Well, I think you nailed it. It's the endemic corruption of higher education. It's only to be expected that parents will seek diversionary ways to save money. The colleges are set up with these gates that people learn how to jump, and I don't think it's admirable in the least that these wealthy families
of course
figured out this dodge, but it is the system.
Right. I mean, exactly. That's I guess the problem is who's in a position to say what is or is not admirable within the system. What is admirable about higher education at this juncture, with the exception of a few outlier schools?
Oh, you're asking the tough questions right now. Well, I would say you have to search high and low to find the more admirable parts of our current world of colleges and universities, but they're there to be found if you're interested in finding needles in haystacks.
Well, they found the needles. I mean, so the University of Illinois has identified 14 applicants. 3 just completed their freshman year, and 11 plan to be freshmen this fall. Do you think the university should end this program and tell those kids to reapply under, not false premises?
Actually, that would be a pretty good idea, but I imagine that if they tried to do that, the students would sue.
Yep.
So it's not going to be an easy fix.
Just picking up off this ethnic studies model curriculum that's forthcoming in California, talking to a philosophy professor of mine too on his campus. They're doing something called transing the curriculum right now, and we were talking about this funeral home case that's going to be argued before the Supreme Court in October. Transing the curriculum, where you have some transhumanist professor who specializes in transhumanism come in and without any sort of alternative viewpoint, basically give the pro-trans talking points, and this is across discipline. This isn't like philosophy or gender studies, or this is across discipline. And I wonder if you hear of that going on college campuses too, is that sort of gender being the last wall to knock down.
Well, gender is the cutting edge now of curricular reform. So thank you for your narrative sharing.
Yes, you're very welcome. Yes.
I think that we can expect the fights between sort of old-style feminists and current proponents of transgenderism to be one of the hot topics over the coming year, and it looks to me like the feminists are going to lose. That is that it's okay now for men to declare they're women, and anyone who objects to that on the feminist side is retrograde.
Well, right, and
I assume that's what trans means in this case. There's
yeah.
a lot of
Well, right, and so I mean, so what is the like, especially for National Association of Scholars, where you've got this association of academics who believe in, things like academic, old antiquated concepts, atavistic notions like academic freedom and free speech on campus and peer-reviewed research and old fuddy-duddy ideas. What is it that academics like those that are National Association of Scholars members can or should do as besides just sort of existing in a persecuted state, one off or two off on every campus in America?
Well, what I believe we should do, speaking for the group as a whole, is to be as visible as possible. The effort of the left is to continue to marginalize conservatives, traditionalists, anybody who's not on their side, pretend that their views are exceptionally rare and to be dismissed with a laugh. The right answer to that is to speak out as often as possible and as visibly as possible. The Amy Wax case is very much on my mind these days. She's the law professor at University of Pennsylvania who 2 weeks ago gave a talk in which she recommended that American immigration policy focus on finding immigrants whose value systems match that of American culture, which was promptly denounced as racism by Vox, the website, and echoed by tens of thousands of activist students, none of whom had heard what Amy said, or this was all conducted on the basis of rumor mostly. And but there you go. Amy Wax is an outstanding figure who fearlessly states the obvious. And when academics do that sort of thing, they bring the traditionalist side of academia back into focus for Americans who can easily enough decide that the whole thing is a sham and not worth paying any attention to. So
yeah,
that's my key recipe for fixing things.
Yeah, Amy Wax, we've had her on the show. She's an interesting case study in all of this because she's also somebody, even though she's a U of Penn law professor, as you said, she's somebody who believes that the Ivy League is irreparable and should be basically raised and start over. And so much of academia, I think you could argue the same. It seems to me one of the challenges is finding a welcoming home for all these academics toiling in places like the Ivy League that don't want to be there, aren't welcome there, and really present the choice in stark terms. You've got a bunch of true intellectuals over here at this particular college or this particular series of colleges, and you have a bunch of charlatans and political propagandists over here, and you make your choice where you want to go. But it would provide more clarity rather than, Amy Wax at U of Penn and whatever, Jason Hill at DePaul and so on and so forth. Everybody, like I said, sort of one off or two off and outnumbered by a factor of 30 to 1 on campus.
Well, it'd be great if we had more colleges or universities that were dedicated in a genuine way to traditional academic values. There are a handful of them, like Hillsdale and Grove City, but they're not common. We need more. The entrepreneurs who each year funnel billions of dollars into supporting their alma maters could make an immediate difference were they to be persuaded that creating a new college or building up some small inconspicuous place into a better place would be a better route to fixing America's future.
Absolutely. That's a good idea. That's the direction I'd like to see some of those deep pockets go to. He is Peter Wood, president of the National Association of Scholars, and you can check out his piece on Amy Wax that he was referencing at spectator.us in defense of Amy Wax. Peter, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
The Lou Dobbs Financial Report is brought to you by Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Visit signaturebank.bank for your commercial banking needs.
I'm Lou Dobbs. The Senate poised to pass a 2-year budget deal. Many economists see economic growth slowing and the Fed ready to cut interest rates. Will it? Those stories next.
This is your Stock Market Bulletin. I'm Bobby Richards. The CEO of an obscure $3 tech stock founded by the blue-collar son of a police officer has captured the attention of Donald Trump. Trump met with the CEO at the White House, and since then, Donald Trump appears to have become the company's #1 fan. He showed up at a groundbreaking ceremony. He called the CEO one of the most successful business people across the globe, and he said what they are doing is the 8th wonder of the world. We decided to investigate for ourselves and reached out to the premier stock analyst in the United States, Oxford Club chief investment strategist Alex Green. Alex told us the company is landing massive deals, including $450 million with Nokia, $395 million with Microsoft, $828 million with Cisco, and $29.2 billion with Apple. The company is set to create 50,000 jobs in America this year, and Alex has now declared this $3 stock his #1 play for 2019. Go to onestockretirement.com for more details, including how much Alex expects the stock to rise this year.
Despite fierce pushback from fiscal conservatives, the Senate set to pass a 2-year budget deal that also suspends the debt ceiling through mid-2021. The deal has strong support from President Trump. A growing number of economists expect growth to slow in the coming year, but see no threat of recession. Just under half of those surveyed expect the economy to expand 2% or more. The Federal Reserve expected to cut interest rates by a 1/4 point when it wraps up 2 days of meetings in Washington. That would mark the first rate cut in more than a decade. Investors focusing on the latest economic reports today, including consumer spending, pending home sales, and the Consumer Confidence Index. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 o'clock and 10 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Hey, our good friend Mike Lindell, the MyPillow guy, who unfortunately is not going to run for Congress, but he's authorized us to make the best offer ever on radio or TV. For a limited time only, you can get a 2-pack of premium MyPillows for only $69.98. That's only $34.99 per pillow. Again, it is the lowest price ever offered in the history of MyPillow. So wait no longer. Take advantage of that. Plus, we have 30% off pet beds, mattress toppers, and my favorite, the Giza cotton sheets that come in all shapes and sizes and colors. So act now to get this brand new, absolutely lowest price ever offered for 2 premium MyPillows for only $69.98. Go to MyPillow.com. Promo code Amy or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201. Either method, use the promo code Amy.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
Do you have a family? Would you like to help make sure they'll be taken care of if anything were to happen to you? If you answered yes, you probably need life insurance. Now, do you think life insurance is expensive? If you answered yes to that too, you definitely need to give AIG Direct a call. We could find you a $250,000 policy for just $14 a month, which means you could save hundreds of dollars a year. Call us now for a free, no-obligation quote. 1-800-400-6213. Since 1995, we've helped millions of people find out if they could save up to 70% on their term life insurance. See how affordably we can help you protect your family. Call AIG Direct now for your free quote. 1-800-400-6213. You could save up to 70%. That's 1-800-400-6213. 1-800-400-6213.
We have reached the age where things just cost more.
Cars, phones, life insurance.
Your blood pressure is up.
Your weight is up.
You're one to talk.
I have type 2 diabetes, so I'm getting dinged just like you.
Thank goodness for Big Lou.
Big Lou!
Big Lou can get term life insurance rates for a 50-year-old male with type 2 diabetes or high blood pressure, or maybe he's on anxiety meds, for just around $200 a month for $1 million of coverage.
Oh, you got to say that again.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll say it. Big Lou and term provider could get a 50-year-old man, a little dinged up, $1 million in life insurance for around $200 a month.
Call Big Lou.
Big Lou.
He's like you. 800-555-2085.
That's 800-555-2085. 800-555-2085.
Don't put it off. If you're overweight, diabetic, have high blood pressure, you gotta call Big Lou.
Gotta.
800-555-2085.
Write it down.
800-555-2085.
Balance of Nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
Love it. I'll take it for life. When I go in and I get all my checkups and everything and that, my numbers are just, they're through the roof. Good. It works well.
It is the most wonderful product I think I've ever taken.
The success of using this product has just been wonderful. And it's so pleasant to take. It's so easy to use. There's just no downside to it. If a product like this is going to improve your life, then this is the best one out there.
Experience the difference for yourself. Receive 25% off your first preferred purchase of Balance of Nature. Plus, get a set of convenient travel bottles containing a free additional week supply of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. You will still receive free shipping on every order. This is a limited offer and may end at any time. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We're just hours away from Dem Socialist debate due.
In Detroit, in D-Town.
And, one of the big issues is going to be the chicken littleism over environmental policy and climate change. So why don't we do a stop, look, and listen with Bjorn Lomborg, director of the Copenhagen Consensus think tank and a environmental scientist, so that you can help, so he can help you separate fact from fiction with respect to what you hear this evening, and we'll do that at 7:07.
And I knew it. A woman's intuition. We'll explain. But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here's the one and only Mike Scott.
Security will be a top priority at Lollapalooza. Man found stabbed on a CTA Red Line train. Arson caused a West Side fire that injured 6. Crystal Lake seeks to demolish the home of A.J. Friend. Former UIC coach Howard Moore will not coach at all this season. We'll update that story. Cubs at the Cardinals tonight. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
Was your information stolen? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. There's been yet another big data breach, this time affecting Capital One. Fox's Tanya J. Powers has details live.
Dave, more than 100 million Capital One credit applications were accessed during this hacking, revealing credit scores, balances, and the Social Security numbers of about 140,000 customers. The breach also involves 80,000 bank account numbers. A hearing is set in federal court in Seattle for Thursday for Paige A. Thompson, who was charged with a single count of computer fraud and abuse in connection to the hacking of Capital One customer information. Thompson, who also goes by the handle Erratic, has been ordered to remain in custody, Dave.
Tanya, President Trump keeps going after Baltimore, and Elijah Cummings, the Democratic congressman he calls a racist. Here's Fox's Sean Langell.
Suggesting money allocated for his West Baltimore district was either stolen or wasted. The president tweeting Cummings should, quote, investigate himself with his oversight committee. But one of Maryland's Democratic senators, Ben Cardin, says,
I think the president is appealing to racism, and that makes him a racist.
And Democrats running for president might talk about that tonight. 10 will debate in Detroit, including Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. 10 more candidates will debate tomorrow night, including frontrunner Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. In a few hours, President Trump will go to Jamestown as Virginia commemorates the 400th anniversary of the first legislative assembly before there were even colonies. Some black state lawmakers plan to boycott the event. The trial started this morning in Sweden. For an American rapper, President Trump tried to get released from jail.
A$AP Rocky's lawyer telling a court in Stockholm that his client pleads not guilty to a charge of assault. The lawyer saying the rapper, real name Rocky Myers, acted in self-defense in a street brawl in the Swedish capital last month. Prosecutors telling the court Myers threw a man to the ground before the artist and 2 other men kicked and punched him.
That's Simon Owen. This is Fox News.
Sunshine in Chicago, 67 degrees. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. On AM 560, The Answer, and we're following developments on a story that is coming to us from Lake Hallie and then Lafayette, Wisconsin, where Chippewa County sheriffs say they expect to release more information this morning about shootings there that left 5 dead, 2 in the town of Lake Hallie and 3 more shot and killed in the town of Lafayette. It is a family domestic incident that may be murder-suicide. The person who pulled the trigger is among the dead. Again, it's a story we'll follow for you this morning here on AM 560, as we also follow an investigation that is underway after a woman was found dead in suburban Park Ridge. That discovery was made yesterday in the 1900 block of South Cortland. Authorities say the death is suspicious. Illinois Congressman Dan Lipinski is okay for attending the California Festival, where 3 were killed in a shooting. The Democrat from Western Springs says he and his wife were at the Gilroy Garlic Festival when gunfire erupted on Sunday. He thanked law enforcement and said he was praying for victims and their families. A man is in critical condition. He was found stabbed on a CTA Red Line train on Chicago's north side. After being stabbed, the man boarded the southbound Red Line train at Howard Station and rode it 2 stops before being taken off. Investigators believe it was arson that caused a large fire on the west side yesterday that injured 6. One woman was injured jumping from that building to escape the flames. 20 were left homeless. The news service of the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America, inviting you to take steps for cures at a walk event near you. Support the 1.6 million Americans living with these diseases. Get started at cctakesteps.org. 7:03, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher can see the president working the media.
I don't think he's going to stand there like John McCain once tried to do and say, no, my friends, she's a nice lady, Ilhan Omar. We just have disagreements philosophically. It's pure comedy to watch the same usual suspects hyperventilate over a moment like that with the intensity and the overreaction that President Trump is counting on.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
When the sand gets hot, you gotta move fast, like a dog chasing a Frisbee. Move just as fast to the Ford Hurry Up and Save sales event. Because for the first time ever, you can get 20% estimated savings on select Ford vehicles. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. Don't let this hot deal on America's best-selling brand pass you by. Get into the Ford Hurry Up and Save sales event. Based on 2010 through 2018 calendar year sales. Modem must be activated within 60 days of purchase through the Ford Pass app on a smartphone and remain active for at least 6 months after activation. Eligible on select 2019 model year vehicles. Vehicle must have arrived at dealer at least 61 days prior to the sale date. Estimated savings include an average dealer discount based on a sales survey of average discounts offered by Ford dealers nationally. Discount may vary. Dealer determines price. For all offers, take new retail delivery from an authorized Ford dealer stock by 9/3/19. See participating dealer for complete details.
Did you miss the open enrollment this year? I can help you purchase a PPO health insurance plan at any time that eliminates the mandatory maternity coverage. This is Tom Marabali, your health insurance advocate and independent producer for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois and other carriers. If you're over 50 and are covered by the Affordable Care Act, you're paying for maternity coverage every month whether you want it or not. In Chicago, the least expensive PPO health insurance plan under the ACA will cost $572 per month with a total out-of-pocket cost of $7,900 before your bills are paid at 100%. I can show you how to eliminate the mandatory maternity coverage and lower your monthly premium to $278 per month with a total out-of-pocket cost of $2,500 before your bills are paid at 100%. That's a savings of $294 a month and over $5,000 with my lower deductible. For a free quote and to see if you qualify, call me, Tom Marabali, at 630-863-3477. That's 630-863-3477.
With data and texting included in over 200 countries and destinations, T-Mobile for Business keeps you connected at the corner coffee shop or a cafe halfway around the world. Business is changing. Are you with us? Visit T-Mobile.com/business.
7:06. Let's get an update on the roads. AM 560 Traffic Center time. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Inbound Kennedy. Delays start around Cumberland. It's 38 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. 19 from Montrose. 15 in the Express. Outbound 35 minutes downtown to the airport. Eden's 20 minutes. Lake Cook to the junction. Outbound it's 22. Inbound Eisenhower delays begin around St. Charles. 53 minutes. 390 to downtown. 39 from Manheim. Outbound it is 40 minutes to 390. Stevenson, an hour and 2 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 50 minutes. Wreck before LaGrange Road on the right side. Ryan, 27 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 26 minutes, side east to the merge, Bishop 428. Delays on the northbound Tri-State, Plainfield Road to the Hinsdale Oasis, and from the Reagan Tollway to the Bensonville Bridge. That's traffic. I'm Jim Alamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
A nice day today, sunny to partly cloudy skies. The high today 78, mainly clear tonight with a low near 60. For tomorrow and Thursday, mostly sunny, pleasant for both days. High tomorrow 77, Thursday's high 80. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
67 at O'Hare. Next news update at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour radio show, Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer. Brought to you by Pearshell Financial Group.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So you can be assured that in addition to a long discussion on Trump's tweets, tonight's Dem Socialist debate due, you're going to get a conversation about a range of other issues, the reinstatement of the death penalty and the recasting by Joe Biden of his position on that issue.
Anyone going to ask him about the heavy petting? And why you're making out with your granddaughter?
Perhaps that will come up, or perhaps they'll just have him a little bit further away from everybody else on the stage. Then you have a little additional separation for Joe. The other thing, of course, will be the end of the world in 12 years, or the end of the world Spice and her band members still promoting that in some form or fashion, even though I guess now her position is 12 years was intended to be directionally correct, not specifically correct, because we know her position is that if you're morally right, you don't need to be particularly correct on the facts. So that's helpful.
And she's scaring children with that kind of rhetoric. A person in a position of power like that should not be irresponsible and say things.
Yeah.
Math doesn't lie.
And the children are scaring us, like these climate change activists who superglued themselves to the doors of the U.S. Capitol building last week. This is one of their protests.
It's going to hurt when they,
Extinction Rebellion is the name of the group. Extinction Rebellion, chanting climate, ! Extinction, ! Rebellion, ! It's not very creative and it doesn't rhyme, but I hope they had enough nail polish to remove themselves from where they were affixed at the Capitol building. If we could try to be factually correct, and then I guess we can get to the morality of respective policy positions. I think that's a good way to sort of reverse engineer what you're going to hear from Democrats tonight. And to help us do that, we're pleased to be joined again by Bjorn Lomborg. He's the director of the Copenhagen Consensus Center, a think tank, and he's also the author of Cool It and Skeptical Environmentalism. Bjorn, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Dan, it's good to be back.
And you have written a piece recently for the Telegraph about sort of how voters are reacting to some of these apocalyptic pronouncements from the most popular, the most followed alarmists, AOC, but not limited to America. They're just sort of everywhere you go, they seem to be rejecting the proposals to deindustrialize their economies to save the planet, according to the climate alarmists, and you sort of catalog some of that.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Dan, because fundamentally, if you ask people, are you worried about global warming? Yes, they have heard about this, and yes, they are worried. So, Amy, you're absolutely right. The scaring does seem to work. But then if you ask them, how much are you willing to pay? It turns out not very much. And, of course, it's this crucial bit that I think a lot of the climate alarmists are just simply forgetting, that most people are just not willing to pay very much. A recent survey in the U.S. Asked Americans, do you want us to do aggressive action, as they called it? And 2/3 said yes. But then you ask them how much are you willing to pay, and 2/3 didn't even want to pay $100 a year to fix that problem. So, the simple point here is to realize that while there's a lot of rhetoric out there, there's a very little room to actually maneuver to find smart climate policies. And that's why we've got to stop with these. We're going to change our whole society in 2 seconds, and we're just going to allow the cost to ramp up. We need to find a cheap and effective way that can actually fix climate change, but still not cost very much.
Well, what are some of your ideas?
Well, look, right now, most people want to switch to renewables because it feels really nice, but it's mostly rhetoric right now. Renewables actually, so solar and wind contribute about 1% of global energy. So it's nowhere near having the impact that most people are certainly believing that it will have. The International Energy Agency estimates even in 2040, if everyone does everything they promised in the Paris Agreement and so on, we'll probably get a little more than 4% of our energy from solar and wind. And so what you need to focus on is, if you want to get a much bigger pickup, you need to make solar and wind and all the other green energy sources, that includes nuclear, to be much cheaper. Because unless it's cheap, essentially cheaper than fossil fuels, you will never get the majority of humanity to switch mostly to green energy sources.
Well, and some of that too is just, it's just, it's just magical thinking with respect to. And Bill Gates has made this point. Other people made this point. Do you know how windmills are built? Do you know what they're built with? Do you know the requirements in terms of use of fossil fuels to construct these things, to have backup generators? I mean, there's just like no interest in the specifics of how you actually do energy production for all of these people that are suggesting that we walk away from fossil fuels tomorrow.
No, it's very much virtue signaling for a lot of people. It makes you feel good. But the reality, of course, is unless we have massive storage, you just can't allow yourself to be dependent on only having energy when the sun is shining or the wind is blowing. And so the reality here is that wind and solar can be a nice supplement at some points, especially if you live close to a lot of hydropower. But otherwise, you really have to find much better alternatives. And that includes investing a lot more in research and development. Look, if you look back at all the other problems we faced in the world, we didn't solve them by saying to everyone, I'm sorry, could you live a little dimmer? Could you live a little poorer? Could you live a little less? You solved it through technology. So when we worried about the world not having enough food back in the 60s and 1960s and 70s, the solution wasn't what your mom told you, eat up your plate, or otherwise the black guys in Africa won't get enough food. The solution, of course, was the Green Revolution, that we actually managed to get technology to Africa and Asia to allow them to produce much more food. And the same thing is going to be the solution for green energy. If we get technology to be cheap enough, we can solve this problem, but we can't solve it just on magical thinking and feeling good.
Well, the other problem that the AOCs of the world have is China and a lot of other countries that are substantial emitters, China being number one in the world now. They're not on board. They're building thousands of coal plants. They are not on board with you. So if this is about saving the world, you're not getting buy-in. I don't care how many signatories are on how many protocols.
Exactly. I mean, first of all, China is promising very little by 2030, and there's virtually no reason to believe that they would be punished in any way if they don't live up to this. Of course, India, using much less fossil fuels, want to use a lot more simply because it's the way that you pull people out of poverty. Much of Africa is going to pay hugely for the promises they made, and they're incredibly poor. Of course, they're not actually going to allow themselves to go down this route. So what we need to recognize is you're only going to get a few rich, well-meaning countries to make these promises, but they're probably not even going to go through with them. I think it's very instructive that if you look at New Zealand, who just became the first nation to actually promise to go carbon neutral by 2050, which is pretty far ahead compared to what these Extinction Rebellion people are asking for. But they actually had the audacity to at least ask their economists, how much is this going to cost us? And the answer was, by 2050, the average cost will be 16% of GDP.
Wow.
That's a huge cost. That's the equivalent to all the state budget in New Zealand right now. So that's
a country with more
hospitals and everything else.
And that's a country with more sheep than people. So yeah, that's 60% of GDP is pretty substantial. That's the size of the healthcare.
1/6.
Yeah, 1/6, 16. That's approximately the size of the healthcare sector in this country. That's a big number.
Yeah, it is a huge number. And again, what you have to recognize is most countries are actually going to be most countries' governments are going to be deselected if they keep on these processes. That's what we've seen in a lot of places around the world, that people just simply will not have that happen. Most famously, of course, in France, when they tried to put what's equivalent to about 12-cent increase per gallon of gasoline.
Yellow
and they
vests.
said no, and they've had protests ever since.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what about Australia? You mentioned in your article that was the climate change election.
So, a lot of people are saying people in elections are actually going to vote for green parties and vote for a new green revolution. Well, the evidence seems to be the exact opposite. Australia's election was billed as the climate change election, and everybody expected the Labour Party to basically cruise to an easy win. But that didn't happen. And why? Well, because Labour had actually promised a lot of policies that most people could see, this is actually going to cost me, both in terms of more dear electricity costs, but it's probably also going to cost the economy and reduce jobs. And so people actually voted for the sitting government exactly because they did not want very expensive climate policies. And we've seen this around the world. We've also seen this in the U.S. Colorado has rejected the effort to limit oil drilling. Washington, the Democrat-oriented Washington, actually rejected to become the first state to have a carbon tax, and we've seen several defeats for trying to do a carbon tax. So again, what we're seeing across the world is a lot of countries saying, you know what, we'd like to do a little bit, but not very much. And that's, of course, where the Extinction Rebellion and all the other guys that are arguing for more climate measures are failing to realize that most people care about the environment. They want to do something for climate, but only a little bit. So,
right.
Only $100 or less.
Right. Well, most people aren't as cavalier with their quality of life as Tom Steyer is with their quality of life. So it's very easy for the uber wealthy, the champagne socialists, to be very cavalier about the quality of life and the expense of power to power that life for people that are middle income or lower income. But it turns out, they're willing to pitch in, but they're not willing to be pitched out. And that's these draconian policies that are being proposed. It's easy to understand why people are rejecting them. I know that's a political statement, and that's really not your bailiwick, but I mean, it seems pretty apparent, including with some of the elections that you've described in your piece.
Exactly, and that's why we need to recognize we're not going to solve global warming by either ignoring it, but we're not going to solve it by claiming we need to do everything and throw the AOC kind of trillions of dollars after this every year, because people are not going to accept that. They're going to accept cheap, effective solutions, and that's why we should be focusing on investing in research and development, because if we can get the technology to be there, if we can innovate the price of green energy down below fossil fuels, then of course everyone will switch, not just in America, but also in China and India. But if we don't focus on making market forces work for us, that is making innovation make this cheaper, will not solve this.
Got to make a better mousetrap, precisely. Bjorn Lomborg, director of the Copenhagen Consensus Center think tank. He's also the author of Cool It and Skeptical Environmentalist. And I will tweet out at Dan Proft his column, Voters Don't Want the Green Campaigners' Extreme Policies, Extreme Climate Policies, that was in the Telegraph. Bjorn, thanks so much for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
Take care.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
There's an urgent need for first responders right now and right here in the Chicagoland area. Start a new, meaningful career, providing a valuable life-saving service, and make a difference by helping others. Get your EMT training and certification from Elite Ambulance at emtnow.org. Experience a new and rewarding career as a professional emergency medical technician with training and certification at emtnow.org. Sign up today for first responder EMT courses with Elite Ambulance courses. They make it easy with day and evening classes starting soon. Offered at multiple locations: Elgin, Hickory Hills, Naperville, Orland Park, and Schiller Park. Take the first step and become a qualified EMT, emergency medical technician. The second step, a more advanced paramedic. And third step, firefighter. Log on to emtnow.org for complete details and EMT training courses starting soon. Sign up now before classes fill up. Start your new career making a difference as a first responder. Go to emtnow.org. That's emtnow.org.
Interest rate alert. Mortgage rates have dropped to their lowest levels in over a year. If your rate starts with a 4, then you should call Team Hochberg now. Not tomorrow, not next week. Call 855-56-DAVID now to see if Team Hochberg can help you, as they've helped Dan refinance the 6% mortgage he took out 10 years ago. Team Hochberg refinanced him into a 15-year fixed loan, saved him over $100 a month, and eliminated over $60,000 in mortgage payments. Team Hochberg also issued a full closing cost credit to cover all of Dan's closing costs. Let's review. Dan called Team Hochberg, refinanced his 6% 30-year fixed loan into a 15-year fixed loan, lowered his payment over $100, saved over $60,000 in mortgage payments, and received a full closing cost credit. Seriously, what are you waiting for? Stop procrastinating. Call David now. 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but guess what? They can't help you if you don't call. 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. Homeside Financial, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1124061.
Is your old AC a clunker? Does it clunk, leak, or make weird noises? Could be it's on its way out. Luckily, the highly trained techs at your local 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning will replace your AC with new top-tier equipment. And isn't that what you want to hear? Right now, get big savings on a complete cooling system. Call 855-1-HOUR.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1 Hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
Oh, he's taking it. A lot of people are. Balance of nature. I have it right here in my hot little hands. The weather's hot and humid, and maybe you're feeling a little run down. You're definitely not getting enough fruits and veggies at all those summer barbecues where there's beer and brats and hot dogs. You need to do what I started doing and what Justin Kosick, our technical producer, started doing, and that's take balance of nature. So, Justin, how's it going?
I feel great. I feel like I could lift a car. No, seriously, I do, though. I sleep better at night. And I feel more energized throughout the day. And I'm not even kidding.
No, I know, and your skin looks
let's go
better.
out to the parking
I'm
lot
radiating
with my car.
Let's go.
You're glowing. So what Justin's doing and what we're doing is taking 6 capsules of Balance of Nature, and with that you get 10 servings of 31 different fruits and veggies. It really is just that easy and convenient. And if you listen to the station, you hear people like Justin, myself, talking about how Balance of Nature has changed their lives, and it could do the same for you. So start doing something for yourself. Start living a healthier life today by taking Balance of Nature. Experience the difference for yourself. And right now, you can still get 25% off your first preferred purchase of Balance of Nature. Plus, I love it, this set of convenient travel bottles that contain a free additional week supply of Balance of Nature. And you'll still receive free shipping on every order. This is a limited offer and may end at any time. So call today, 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago or go to balanceofnature.com, discount code Chicago.
We're surrounded by noise, bombarded by information, Messages struggling to get attention. So many ways to reach customers. Your message needs to cut through and stand out. For the resources and know-how to make it all work, there's Salem Surround. Get started with a free evaluation of your digital presence and some great ideas to increase your online visibility and revenue. Learn more at surroundchicago.com. Surroundchicago.com, connecting you with new customers.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, the party bros, are back. Chad and JT.
They are? I'm so excited. You didn't tell me that.
Petitioning Manhattan Beach to lead the nation in establishing a second Independence Day celebration. It's an impassioned plea they made, as they always do, because they are activists. Here's Chad.
Yeah, what up, Council? My name is Chad Kroger. As most of you already know, 4th of July is my favorite holiday. Fireworks, hot dogs, and Bud Heavies. What? It's so legit. Like everyone before, this 4th of July was epic. And to paint a painting for you, I started the day by sinking a no rebuttal on the beer pong table with my girlfriend at 7 a.m. in my Blazing Eagle kimono.
Chad, just remember, just like we told you the last time you were here, and we do remember you here, make sure that it is about things coming before our council.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, you're going to get there?
I'm getting to it. I'm
Great.
just trying to paint the whole.
Got it.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
In my Blazing Eagle kimono.
Sure.
Everyone should do that. I've honestly been a different human ever since. After that, a freaking earthquake happened, but I refused to let it shake me. Pun. It was the best day of my life, and the intimate things I said to my GF after cannot be shared. Which brings me to a larger issue. Why does the USA have so few party holidays? It doesn't make sense. I am ready to rage every day, so why does my country afford me so little opportunity? Memorial Day is legit, but for doing SEAL team workouts, respect the troops. Kellen tried to make Flag Day a thing, but it sucked. What happened to us, Council? America built the 4th of July holiday around raging, and I bet the Founding Fathers used to celebrate the 4th 47 times a year, one for each state. That's why the forefathers threw tea in the harbor, to make room for more kegs.
Are we getting there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you heard of England?
Oh my gosh.
They have this queen there who celebrates her birthday twice. Once on her birthday in April, and again in June, because April in England is not conducive for tanning.
It's true.
So I propose that we declare a second Independence Day on the 2nd of July, the day of the movie Independence Day, with Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum came out. The day President Bill Pullman said in one loud voice, "We will not go quietly into the night, dudes."
Oh, boy.
I can listen to them all day.
All right, that's Chad. Now,
good. What's-
you're going to have to, now I want you to let his words wash over you. I want you to give them due consideration, really think about his proposal, and then a little bit later in the hour, we'll hear from JT.
Okay, fine. Now let's go into the newsroom. Let's get Tizo. I'll make you keep listening. Here's Mike Scott.
Chad for governor. Chad for governor. Cloudy skies right now. Sun has gone away for a time, but it should be back. 67 degrees. Bad news from Capital One is the bank says a giant data breach this month exposed information of about 100 million Americans and 6 million Canadians. The FBI has arrested a 33-year-old software engineer from Seattle on a charge of computer fraud in connection with that hack. President Trump condemning the horrific shooting in Gilroy, California.
While families were spending time together at a local festival, a wicked murderer opened fire and killed 3 innocent citizens, including a young child.
We could soon learn more today about shootings that left 5 dead in northwest Wisconsin, in the towns of Lake Hallie and Lafayette. Chippewa County sheriffs say they expect to release more information about those shootings, likely murder-suicide, domestic in nature. Investigators say the person who pulled the trigger is among the dead. An investigation continues after a woman was found dead in a suburban Park Ridge home. Police say the discovery was made yesterday in the 1900 block of South Cortland Avenue and may be suspicious. Chicago police are searching for the killers of 2 women who volunteered with an anti-violence group. Chantel Grant, Andrea Stoudemire were gunned down last Friday near 75th and Stewart. Members of that group have sat on the corner of 75th and Stewart every day during the summer since 2015 as a way to try and hold down shootings in the area. Man suffered minor injuries in an explosion inside a northwest suburban townhome Monday evening. Firefighters responded to calls of an explosion inside that townhome Monday afternoon, discovering the windows blown out. Streamwood Fire says the residents' injuries did not appear to be severe or life-threatening. Cubs take on the Cardinals tonight. Yu Darvish and Adam Wainwright on the hill. Mets and White Sox at Guaranteed Rate Field. The News is a service of T-Mobile, with data and texting included in over 200 countries and destinations. T-Mobile for Business keeps you connected at the corner coffee shop or a cafe halfway around the world. Business is changing. Are you with them? T-Mobile.com/business. 7:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
There are people who tell me that I've changed.
The Joe Walsh Show.
Joe, you become a rhino. Joe, you're no longer a conservative. Joe, you're trying to get an MSNBC gig. Pre-Trump used to be where you stood on the issues determined whether you were a conservative or a rhino. Post-Trump, it's where you stand on Trump. I get that. I haven't changed. I haven't changed on any issue. I call it like I see it, period.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights, starting at 5, right before Larry Elder at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson, and I've got a quick, cost-effective way to protect and grow the value of your home this summer. Call the professionals at CertaPro Painters for interior and exterior painting. They painted the first floor of my home last year, and every time someone walks in, they always say, gosh, your house looks so much bigger. That's because one of their color specialists helped me pick out the perfect color. So boost your curb appeal this summer with a fresh coat of paint while protecting it from the heat, storms, and insects. Be proud to show off your house to your friends and neighbors. Their summer calendar has a few spots available, so secure yours now. Don't put it off. Time to hire CertaPro Painters, your residential and commercial painting experts. You can schedule a free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Get a free estimate at CertaPro.com or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I have been plagued with esophagus acid, and it burns the esophagus. I've had it for 30 years, and I've had doctors give me prescriptions for it and everything. I never got rid of it. I've been on the Balance of Nature for about 3.5, 4 months. It is completely gone. I didn't even notice it. It has to be the Balance of Nature because it's the only supplement I'm taking. And I just wanted you to know that because it's made a world of difference in my life. I just wanted to let you know.
Experience the difference for yourself. Receive 25% off your first preferred purchase of Balance of Nature. Plus, get a set of convenient travel bottles containing a free additional week supply of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. You will still receive free shipping on every order. This is a limited offer and may end at any time. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Blue Emu supports healthy muscles and joints. Blue Emu works fast and you won't stink.
7:35, AM 560 Traffic Center time. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Veterans Memorial northbound traffic is heavier now with delays from I-55 to Roosevelt and Lake Street to 290. Slow traffic on the eastbound Reagan Tollway 83 to Roosevelt. The northbound Tri-State from 111th to 47th. And from the Reagan Tollway to the Bensonville Bridge, farther north, southbound traffic is tight, 60 to Deerfield Road. Edens is 19 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 28. Academy, 36 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 39. Inbound Eisenhower, 51 minutes, 390 to downtown, 35 from Manheim, outbound 46 minutes to 390. Stevenson, an hour, 355 to the drive, outbound 53 minutes. Ryan is 29 minutes, 95th to downtown. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Sunny to partly cloudy today. A nice day ahead. 78 for a high temp, clear and 60 overnight. 67 at O'Hare. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Real Estate Revealed with Randy Barcella, Sunday mornings starting at 8.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer
Please go away. Let me sleep for the love of God.
on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Dr. Ben Carson, the HUD director, was on with Tucker Carlson last night responding to the furor President Trump initiated with his tweeting at Representative Elijah Cummings over the weekend that brought Al Sharpton down to Baltimore, which I think only helps Trump. The more Al Sharpton is in front of a microphone decrying you, the better it is for you if you're not a man or woman of the left. Ben Carson had this to say about what he thinks President Trump was trying to communicate.
And I think what President Trump was trying to say is that rather than spending your time talking about, our brave border agents and investigating endlessly things that you can't find anything on, why not spend some time working more for these people, who are suffering?
Yeah, that seems to be a fair point, particularly since in June of 1999, a member of Congress named Elijah Cummings said, quote, "I live in a drug-infested neighborhood." Oh my gosh, he said infested.
Uh-oh. The I word. There it is again.
He went on to describe his drug-infested neighborhood. "I've known little girls who I've watched grow up from babies, and they're selling their bodies for $5, a 14-year-old. I see them every day. I know the pain of coming home and seeing my home ransacked, my car broken into." It's almost like he's describing a place that no human being would choose to live. And we've rinsed and repeated the hand-wringing over violence and depredation in parts of Baltimore over the last 2 decades and decades before that, just as we have in Chicago, just as we have in many urban centers. And so the left can try to make this all about Trump, and they can decry him as a racist all they want. How many Michelles do you think are out there that aren't buying the rap? I know the DC Press Corps will buy the left's rap because they're, the handmaidens of the Dem socialists. I get that. But Michelle, that woman that was interviewed by the Republican State Central Committeeman down in Baltimore.
African-American female, by the way.
Yeah, who just said that, Trump's not a racist, and Elijah Cummings has been spreading the same manure in the neighborhood for decades.
Well, their point of contention, too, is that he's been, he seemed to care more about people here illegally and the children that are here rather than people in his own district.
Right.
Who have to smell the rats. And even the former mayor, Catherine Pugh, she went on a tour of Baltimore and called it and said, "Oh, what the HE double hockey sticks is going on? We should tear this blank down. Woo, you can smell the rats. Oh, Jesus. Oh, my gosh. You can smell the dead animals."
Yeah, that was before she had to resign under a cloud of corruption, of course, which speaks to the civilian political leadership in Baltimore.
Well, it's weird she's never been there before.
Going back to Daddy Pelosi and forward 50 years uninterrupted, just like in Chicago, 100 years uninterrupted. And so you just wonder, it'll be interesting to see, and Trump may be the perfect test case, particularly if he continues to prosecute this matter and make overt plays for inner city voters. Be interesting to see if he could break through and replace some of these hate has no home here, white suburban Champaign socialists with black voters who have been left behind by their leftist representatives for the last several generations. I'd love it. I'd love to get Michelle from Baltimore and replace her in Republican ranks and conservative ranks, bring her in and have her replace some, effete Champaign socialist cultural Marxist that, sometimes votes Republican because she wants her marginal tax rate lowered. Interesting if there's a paradigm shift going on, or at least movement towards one. For more on the topic of the Baltimore controversy, as well as a little bit of a preview of tonight's Dem Socialist Debate 2, We're pleased to be joined by John Hinderaker, president of Center of the American Experiment, and he's one of the principals at the powerlineblog.com, which is a must-read site. John, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Hey, glad to be with you.
So how did you receive all of your racist aspersions back and forth over the last 48 hours?
Well, everybody's a racist now, Dan, so I guess I'm not very impressed by that.
There you go.
But, there's an important aspect of the Baltimore story that I don't think has gotten enough attention. And that is, why is it that in recent years Baltimore has been the most crime-ridden, violence-ridden city in the United States? And the answer is that some years ago, 3-4 years ago, they had a Black Lives Matter incident. A guy died in police custody.
Freddie Gray. Yeah, right.
Remain a little bit murky, and there were criminal prosecutions of police officers. Baltimore's elected officials turned massively against their own police department. And since then, policing has gone badly downhill, and the homicide rate has skyrocketed. And so in that very direct way, as well as, of course, the whole last 50 years of neglect and corruption and mismanagement, Baltimore's current problems are directly attributable to the left.
Well, that was Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake. Remember it well.
Yep.
And you remember she said we need to make a safe space for the rioters. And then Marilyn Mosby went on that witch hunt against police officers. All the officers are cleared. And you're right. The interesting thing, too, is New York Times Magazine this spring had this profile piece on Baltimore called The Tragedy of Baltimore. It talked about how ungovernable and unorderly Baltimore has become, one of the worst in the nation. And so it's not like Trump is exactly plotting new ground here.
No, that's exactly right. And Trump is correct. You can look at any of the metrics, any of the data, and you'll find Baltimore close to the bottom. I'm glad to see Trump doing this. This is in part, I think he's doing it because it's right and because he wants to hit back at Elijah Cummings, who deserves it. But in part, I think this is his effort to increase his share of the black vote in 2020. And I think it's going to happen. He was making real headway in 2016 when he would go to urban areas and talk about urban decay and the fact that they've been governed exclusively by Democrats for decades. And his great line was, "What have you got to lose?" Yep. That really resonated with a lot of black voters. Yeah. And if he keeps this up for the next year, I think he's going to significantly increase his share of the black vote.
Well, don't you think it would help? I want him to come to Chicago. I'd love for him to go to Inglewood, which is, a hotbed of violence and homicides here, and also to go to Baltimore. Don't you think that would be a great idea?
I think they're all good ideas. I'd like to see him, over the course of, not even waiting for the campaign, but, over the course of the next year, I'd love to see him go to all of the major cities in the United States and talk about the urban issues that we still have, talk about the fact that the Democrats seem to care a lot more about illegal immigrants than they do about Americans, and ask for these people's votes.
It's funny, too, just thinking about this. There was a great tweet yesterday by Josh Jordan. He dug up a New York Magazine cover story from 2016 with Trump in basically with his hairdo, but in a powdered wig type format. Frank Rich piece, Donald Trump is saving our democracy. Frank Rich cover story, New York Magazine. Quote, the best news about Trump is that he is wreaking this havoc on the status quo while having no chance of ascending to the presidency. They wanted him to be the nominee because he was never going to win.
I was trying to wrap my head around Frank Rich writing that, but now I understand the point.
They loved him as a disruptor because he was never going to win, but then something happened on the way to their ill-conceived plan.
Exactly. I don't know if you remember this, but I was one of the very few pundits who actually predicted that Trump was going to win the election. But I confess that was because I understood what a horrible candidate Hillary Clinton was. I didn't think Hillary could beat anyone.
Yeah, well, exactly. And so tonight's debate, that's a perfect transition to tonight's debate. One Democrat strategist telling The Hill, it's going to be like Thunderdome. 10 come in, but who knows how many come out. This is going to be, we're going to ratchet up the intensity, allegedly. I'm not sure where the intensity can be ratcheted up. I think over the next two nights, we're going to find out which Democrat socialists want to eliminate private health insurance over 4 years versus which ones want to eliminate it over 10 years. But that's not very exciting.
Well, in my opinion, there's a couple of major questions that need to be answered. And I think the first one is, are they going to step back from the brink? There are several areas: open borders, crime, the Green New Deal, socialized medicine with the ban on private health insurance. I don't see how a presidential candidate, nominee of a major party, can run on the far left positions on those issues, and yet those are the positions that these people are all taking. And I wonder if we're going to see them tonight and tomorrow begin to step back from the brink, or are they just going to continue this pell-mell race to the left?
Yeah.
And I think the other really interesting question is the mystery of Joe Biden. Joe Biden, who I think is a terrible candidate. I think he was a terrible candidate 20 years ago before he, became aged, and he's even worse today. But he continues to have this big lead in the polls. And apparently a lot of Democrats see him as kind of a comforting presence, amid the madness. But I can't believe it. I don't think he's going to be the nominee, and it's hard to understand how a guy as frankly as slow-witted as Joe Biden can stay on top. So those are kind of the big questions that I think it'll be interesting to see the answers
But
to.
if not him, then who? Because I don't think the American people or the Democratic Party is going to embrace Elizabeth Warren. They're she just rubs.
I don't know about that. One thing about Liz Warren, she is smart, and that distinguishes her from a number of her competitors. She may have ridden out the Indian thing. She may have put that behind her. Not because she did the DNA test, but just because these things have all, she's been mocked so much, it can't get much worse. I've always thought Kamala Harris was likely to emerge from the pack. But I don't know. I mean, we're certainly not seeing much sign of it.
In the latest poll, no, she's still in single digits.
No, not in Iowa, not New Hampshire. But I mean, they're all sort of running in place, including Bolshevik Bernie, because there's not excuse me, on substance, there's really not a dime's worth of difference among all of them, including Joe Biden now, as he's reinventing himself on all these positions. Right. Like the death penalty to try to stay afloat. So I guess then it just becomes a personality contest. And I don't know, like you got Bernie, who's avuncular, and Kamala, who's sort of bitchy and not really likable, and Elizabeth Warren, who's, I don't know, somewhere in between all of that. So it's just like a student council election for cultural Marxists.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't think we have any idea, frankly, who's going to emerge. If you look back before 2016, through the whole post-war era, the parties were different in how they selected presidential nominees. The Republicans would just monotonously go for the next guy in line, whether it's Bob Dole or Mitt Romney or, whoever it might be. The next guy in line, they would dutifully nominate, whereas the Democrats always used to love to dip down into the pack for a Bill Clinton or a Jimmy Carter or a Barack Obama. As of 2008, he was a real dark horse candidate. And then in 2016, it flipped. The Democrats went with the sort of obvious, boring choice, and it was the Republicans who dipped down into the pack and did something kind of radical. So we'll see what happens. I mean, doing something boring would mean, I guess, nominating Joe Biden. But that hasn't, except for 2016, hasn't been the Democrats' track record. They like to grab somebody out of the pack, who was virtually unknown at the beginning of the race. And it'll be interesting to see if they do that again this year, and if so, who it is.
He is John Hindraker, president of the Center of the American Experiment, and again, get his writings at powerlineblog.com. John, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Take care.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
I've been holding off on buying vitamins because I figure, you know what? All the vitamins I need are going to be in the fruits and vegetable supplements. I'm not going to bore you to tears with recanting all my health issues and what have you, but I will tell you this. There's already improvement, and it's a really amazing transition. It's really nice to get hooked up with an organization of people that understand where real health comes from. This will make a great commercial, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Now.
Experience the difference for yourself. Receive 25% off your first preferred purchase of Balance of Nature. Plus, get a set of convenient travel bottles containing a free additional week supply of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. You will still receive free shipping on every order. This is a limited offer and may end at any time. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
So be honest, who avoids their basement because it smells? It's got that, basement musty odor smell. Well, do you know the natural airflow in your home originates below ground and works its way into your living environment? You and your family are breathing that unhealthy air even when you're upstairs. That's why you should give our friends over at Permaseal a call today at 800-421-SEAL to schedule a free inspection with one of their certified consultants. They'll conduct a thorough inspection of your basement and crawl space and provide you with proven solutions that will help prevent mold, spores, and allergens from affecting your family. For the past 40 years, they've helped 400,000 Chicago homeowners, Northwest Indiana homeowners, and that's why they have an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. So stop breathing that unhealthy air. Call Permaseal today at 800-421-7325 or visit permaseal.net. Be sure to ask your consultant about their PermaDry dehumidification and air filtration system. 800-421-7325 or permaseal.net. Permaseal, known best for being better.
Message and data rates may apply. Please don't text while driving.
If you've been in business more than 20 minutes, you've probably printed your logo on all kinds of promotional products. We all know promotional products work because they're everywhere from sales meetings and corporate events to trade shows. Ever wondered why or how to best use promotional products to grow your business? Let us show you today for free. We're 4imprint, promotional product experts at your service. We're giving away an ebook called Promotional Products Work, absolutely free, to everyone who texts radio to 88988. At 4imprint, we make your logo look perfect on thousands of promotional items. With our 100% guarantee, it'll be right the first time, on time, every time. Your free ebook will reveal valuable insights that can attract new customers, build your brand, help your cause, or simply grow your business. Get the ebook Promotional Products Work absolutely free by texting radio to 88988. That's RADIO to 88988.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Jim Durkin, founding partner of the Martech Group, a global market research firm based in Chicago since 1985 and a longtime customer of Signature Bank. When our business moved to our current Loop location, I recall seeing Mick O'Rourke and his two business partners, Brian Duncan and Kevin Bastuga, laying the foundation for Signature Bank. When Signature opened its doors in 2006, I was proud to move our accounts there and become a shareholder. Being in the consulting business, the Martech Group has a keen understanding of the value of relationships, trust, and attentiveness. Whether dealing with our U.S. practice or our international operations, Signature Bank is always there when we need them. That's why the Martech Group is proud to have Signature Bank as a valued business partner.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Stuck in an expensive timeshare contract and feel like there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO of Wesley Financial Group. I've helped thousands of people get rid of their timeshares.
I didn't realize what I was getting into. The whole thing was just a scam. I finally found information on Chuck, and he agreed to meet us. It was just a wonderful experience because he knows that business inside out, and he actually wanted to solve our problem.
I fought the largest timeshare company in federal court, and yes, I won. Whether you owe $10,000 to $250,000 on your timeshare, we can help cancel your mortgage. When you're approved as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, eliminate your payments, and get them off of your back permanently. And we proudly hold an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. Call Wesley Financial Group now for your free consultation at 1-800-462-3333. That's 1-800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, all right, you heard from Chad. We've given you some time to think about his proposal.
I like it.
For a second Independence Day celebration. They're petitioning the city of Manhattan Beach in California to break the seal on this, get a national movement going.
Yeah, because the Queen in England, has 2 celebrations for her birthday, so why not have 2 holidays here? We need more days off, Dan, is what they're trying to say.
They want to rage all the time, and it could start with more holidays that are rage-worthy. So you've heard from Chad. Now JT is back in his play, of course, because they're the Party Bros.
And I recognize our singer
What up?
from last time. So please make sure that it has to do with the city. We're all
Of course,
here
and thank
the
you for that kind remembrance.
Thank you.
My dogs. I also want to say that I think Chad just killed it. He's very right that we need another holiday badly, and it should most definitely be an extra 4th of July. Not to overshare, but I lost my virginity on the 4th of July 10 days ago. We chugged Kirkland vodka from the bottle and reminisced about a religious retreat from high school while we watched the fireworks. She's the one. There's nothing that I would change about her and I's enchanting adventure. Well, one thing. Hearing Chad tell his story about his rebuttal shot made me super stoked for his skill, but sad that I wasn't there. I wish I had more time on the 4th to split between Chad and my soulmate, Sally. I hope you guys can create another holiday so regular hardworking citizens like me don't have to make these impossible choices. I dream about a day where there's enough Independence Days for me to play King's Cup with my queen and my king. That would be dank. You could make love happen, Council. The pen is in your hand.
Powerful.
Thank you.
Staring at the blank page before you. Open up the dirty window. Let the sun illuminate the words that you cannot find. Reaching for something in the distance, so close you can almost taste it.
Release your
inhibition.
Yeah.
Feel the rain on your skin. Everybody. Feel it for you. Only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Drench yourself in words unspoken. Live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. The rest is still unwritten.
That was so beautiful.
Wow. Thank you. No,
So that was 6 minutes we can't get back.
That was beautiful. That was a beautiful Natasha Bedingfield to close for the win.
They should
very
appreciate,
nice.
city council members should appreciate them more. They bring some levity to the situation.
No question about it, and important issue. And I would have maybe gone with, maybe for an encore between the Raindrops, Natasha Bedingfield, and that dude from Lifehouse.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good tune. All right, that's the Party Bros making a strong case for a second Independence Day celebration.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll return to the dismal world of politics, far away from the Party Bros, when Michael Goodwin from the New York Post joins us at 8:08.
But now let's jump back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
5 killed in northwest Wisconsin. We'll have some details on that developing story. Security a top priority at Lollapalooza this weekend. And John Dillinger to be exhumed. Cubs and Cardinals tonight, too. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
Protesting President Trump. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. He's about to head to Virginia to commemorate what happened in Jamestown 400 years ago, the first legislative assembly in what was then the New World. But some black state lawmakers will boycott. Fox's Kevin Cork in Jamestown reads their statements.
We must recognize that it is a government by, of, and for the people, built on the ideas of personal liberty, justice, and the rule of law. And then it ends with this: the president's words and actions demonstrate that he does not share or embody these ideals.
A vigil in Gilroy, California, the night after the Garlic Festival shooting that left 3 people dead, 5 remain hospitalized.
We cannot let the bastard that did this tear us down.
Mayor Roland Velasco, police killed the 19-year-old gunman.
Authorities have collected evidence from several homes associated with the suspect as well as from his car. They're also looking into his ideological leanings and trying to determine if he was affiliated with any one or any group. In a now deleted Instagram account, he referenced anti-Semitic writings popular among neo-Nazis.
Fox's Claudia Cowan in Gilroy. Trade talks resumed today with China. President Trump tweeted, "We have all the cards." Fox's Simon Owen has more live.
Dave, the president saying the problem with China is they just don't come through, suggesting China is backsliding on a recent pledge to buy more American farm products. This as lead US and Chinese negotiators meet in Shanghai for the first time since talks collapsed in May. For more than a year now, the US and China have been hitting each other with tariffs on imports. The president saying any second-term Trump administration would be much tougher. Dave?
Simon, another big data breach. 100 million Capital One customers had personal information stolen. 140,000 had Social Security numbers taken. 80,000 bank account numbers were accessed. A Washington State woman is in jail charged in that breach. This is Fox News.
Partly cloudy skies, 67 degrees. We should have sun throughout much of this day. 8:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. We could soon learn more about the shootings that left 5 dead in Lake Hallie and Lafayette in northwest Wisconsin. The initial sense, according to sheriffs, is that it was a murder-suicide. Investigators say the person who pulled the trigger is among the dead. An investigation is underway after a woman was found dead in suburban Park Ridge. They say the discovery was made yesterday in the 1900 block of South Cortland Avenue. Authorities have not revealed a cause of death, but do say it was suspicious. Security a top priority at Lollapalooza this week. Mayor Lori Lightfoot says she's confident that Chicago has a robust security plan in place.
We are vigorously, aggressively reaching out, planning, and drawing upon resources from our federal partners to make sure that there's no incident that happens here in Chicago.
Lollapalooza begins on Thursday and runs through Sunday. Investigators believe an arson fire caused injuries to 6 on Chicago's west side. Someone set the blaze yesterday that began in a 3-story apartment block in the 400 block of South Laramie Avenue around 6 a.m. 5 adults and 1 child were injured. 20 have been left homeless. Cubs visit the division rival Cardinals tonight in St. Louis. Darvish and Wainwright on the hill. Ronaldo Lopez and New York's Noah Syndergaard get together at Guaranteed Rate Field for the White Sox and Mets. 8:03. Time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Visit signaturebank.bank for your commercial banking needs. From the Fox Business Network, here's Jenny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, drug companies Eli Lilly and Merck are both reporting business was stronger than expected in the spring quarter. Procter & Gamble also reported an upbeat quarter. The accused hacker of Capital One's cloud service has been arrested. 33-year-old Paige Thompson is a former employee of its cloud provider, Amazon Web Services. The hacking of more than 100 million card customers and applicants was discovered by an ethical hacker who was testing the network's security. Both Capital One and Amazon shares are losing ground before the Wall Street Open. Air Canada has joined Southwest in removing Boeing 737 MAX jets from its schedule until next January. European budget airline Ryanair says it could be forced to cut jobs and close some of its airport bases if there are further delays in returning the Boeing 737 MAX planes to service. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Jenny Cosola.
8:04, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Larry Elder wants to know where we are.
There's a poll in Rasmussen, poll of Democrats. Is it racist for a white politician to criticize the political views of a politician of color? Doesn't say what the criticism is, whether the criticism is warranted, what prompted the criticism, doesn't matter. 32% of Democrats said yes. Where are we?
The Larry Elder Show. Weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
We have to talk about it.
Nope, I don't wanna.
We have to.
No.
But we need life insurance.
I am not listening to you.
So you don't love me then?
What? Oh, fine. We need life insurance, but all the paperwork, it's such a pain.
Not with Ethos.
Ethos? Is that some kind of yoga thing?
No, Ethos is life insurance for people like us.
Like us?
People who don't have time for fine print, insurance jargon, and hidden fees.
Yeah, I pretty much hate all that stuff.
Of course you do. With Ethos, you can apply online, and there's a policy for every budget.
Really?
Yes, the online application only takes 10 minutes, and you'll be taking the first step in ensuring the kids and I will be safe, even if something unexpected happens.
Ethos brings you choices that don't require an in-person meeting with an agent, and in most cases, there's no need for a doctor's appointment.
Feel better?
Yeah, I do.
Ethos, life insurance made simple. Apply online in just 10 minutes. Get a free instant quote now at ethoslife.com. That's ETHOS life.com. Ethoslife.com.
When the sand gets hot, you gotta move fast, like a dog chasing a Frisbee. Move just as fast to the Ford Hurry Up and Save sales event. Because for the first time ever, you can get 20% estimated savings on select Ford vehicles. Plus, earn complimentary maintenance through Ford Pass Rewards. Don't let this hot deal on America's best-selling brand pass you by. Get into the Ford Hurry Up and Save sales event. Based on 2010 through 2018 calendar year sales. Modem must be activated within 60 days of purchase through the Ford Pass app on a smartphone and remain active for at least 6 months after activation. Eligible on select 2019 model year vehicles. Vehicle must have arrived at dealer at least 61 days prior to the sale date. Estimated savings include an average dealer discount based on a sales survey of average discounts offered by Ford dealers nationally. Discount may vary. Dealer determines price. For all offers, take new retail delivery from an authorized Ford dealer stock by 9/3/19. See participating dealer for complete details.
It is 8:07. Let's check the roads now. AM 560 traffic center time. And here is Jim Talamonte.
Eden's outbound traffic is jammed. Montrose to be 420 after a crash. Then it's heavy Dundee to the Spur. It's 39 minutes to Lake Cook. Inbound 19. Kennedy 42 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. 32 from Montrose. 25 on the Express. The Eisenhower runs an hour and 4 minutes from 390 to downtown. 44 minutes from Manheim. Stevenson an hour, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan 38 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound, it's jammed. O'Plain to Deerfield. Northbound delays are 111th to 47th from the Reagan Tollway to the Bensonville Bridge. Reagan Tollway, it's stop and go from the Aurora Toll to 59, 355 to Midwest, 22nd to the Tri-State. It's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center and our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Sunny to partly cloudy. It'll be a nice day today. High near 78. Mainly clear tonight with a low 60. For tomorrow and Thursday, mostly sunny and pleasant. The high tomorrow 77. Thursday's high near 80. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently 67. Next news at 8:30, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by AM Woodland Outdoor Design, luxury outdoor living. amwoodland.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Boy, I would love one of the fungible CNN news reading mouth breathers to ask this question tonight. Maybe Chris Cuomo could get through it. I don't think Don Lemon could without breaking up. Maureen Dowd over the weekend, New York Times. Maureen Dowd. Ready for this?
Yeah.
She's sort of getting sick of the cultural Marxists.
Really?
Let me tell you something, Democrat Socialists. If you lost Maureen Dowd in 2020 against Trump, you're in some trouble. She talks about getting taken to task over having had a little book party at her place with some politicians that were there, and eating chocolates during an interview with Nancy Pelosi and mentioning that she had some good pumps on. She writes, does Dowd, I, the daughter of a D.C. cop, and Carl, the son of an Illinois plumber, book party for her friend Carl Hulse is who she's talking about, were hilariously painted as decadent aristocrats reveling like Marie Antoinette when we should have been knitting like Madame Defarge. Boy, a Tale of Two Cities reference. That's better than I would expect from Maureen Dowd. Yo, proletariat. If the Democrat Party is going to be against chocolate, high heels, parties, and fun, you've lost me. And I've got some bad news for you about 2020. The progressives are the modern Puritans. The Massachusetts Bay Colony is alive and well in the Potomac, and Twitter. They eviscerate their natural allies for not being pure enough while placing all their hopes in a color inside the lines lifelong Republican prosecutor appointed by Ronald Reagan. The politics of purism makes people stupid and nasty. Maureen Dowd chastising the Democrat socialist minders. Ooh. What would you say about that, panel? Raise your hand. That could be a raise your hand question for the 10 tonight and tomorrow. Do you agree with Maureen Dowd or not?
Moderators just for tonight and tomorrow night, Dana Bash, Jake Tapper, and Don Lemon.
So expect a lot of crying.
Anderson Cooper's not happy.
For more on this topic, we're pleased to be joined by Michael Goodwin, New York Post columnist, Fox News contributor. Michael, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, guys.
How about that? Maureen Dowd is sick of being chastised from inside the perimeter.
Yeah. Maureen is an old friend of mine from our days at the Times together, and I ran into her recently. And there's no question that if you run afoul of the new thought police, you will be denounced, no matter your history, no matter other things you've said or done in your life. They freeze a moment, and you are that moment. You become that person eternally for them. So I think that to take a leap here, that's how the left can justify tearing down statues, painting over George Washington murals, because they refuse to see the whole. They only see the part that drives them crazy, and that gives them license to basically, you shut up, you don't have any standing anymore because I have decided, and I have veto power over your life. I mean, that's the new left, and it is terrifying. It's humorous the way Maureen skewers them, but the reality is if they come banging on your door, or if Antifa wants to beat you up because they don't like your politics or just because they think they should run everything, it's not funny, and it becomes quite a serious menace in our society.
What do you think tonight's main focus? I mean, I know they're going to talk about immigration, but do you think they're going to start with Trump's tweets and his, spat between him and Al Sharpton and impeachment?
Oh, I think it'll be he's a racist times a million. I think that is all they will talk about. And, of course, nobody will talk about the lowest historic Black and Latino unemployment rates. The number of people none of that will be brought up, or if it is, it's only about those who aren't getting jobs. But they will ignore the facts. They will ignore the overarching facts to go on this, Russia is now racist. They just segued from one villainous claim to another, again, with no real facts. I mean, it's just an opinion, and it's just done for partisan purposes. So I think the test will be, for all of these Democrats, can anyone break through with a view of the future that is not just a demonization of Donald Trump? Is there anybody who can have an inspiring view of a future America that does not rely on hating the current president and his policies? Because I think if you go down that road, as they are doing, there's no end. There's nothing there. It doesn't give you anything to hold on to. If you're an ordinary American, if you are most concerned with your immediate quality of life, your family's prospects, that sort of ordinary thing, then they give you nothing to hang on to. Hating Donald Trump is not a plan for the future.
Yeah, that's essentially the argument that Nick Kristof was making in the New York Times the other week, and of course, none of his fellow travelers listen, and they don't seem inclined to listen now. But it would seem to me the person that would be most compelled to do what you're suggesting, to take your advice, would be Joe Biden, because he's not going to win trying to pantomime the most radical socialists on the stage. He's going to win or keep the barbarians at bay by not going back to saying I'm a moderate Democrat, not flip-flopping on a bunch of issues like he's flip-flopping around, but by charting a course for the future, what it means to be a Democrat, Democrat leadership would look like and mean for the country, because nobody else is interested in that. They're just interested in the competition to give away freebies.
I think in theory you're right, Dan, but I'm not sure. Two points about that. Two reservations I have. First, I'm not sure Joe Biden is that inspiring person. I
agree.
I remain unconvinced that he will be the nominee because I think he's not just he's over the hill. I think he never got to the hill. He was never, in my mind, a national Democrat. He was a Senate windbag, and his whole life was there. I mean, imagine he was in the Senate from the age of 29. That's all he did until Obama made him vice president. So he's been in Washington his whole life. This idea that he's a man of the people, the middle class, that's a creation of consultants. That's not the reality of who Joe Biden is or how he has lived.
Yeah, but I want him to be the nominee. I want him to be the nominee, though. That's we got to help try and get him across the finish line, Michael.
I don't think he has the staying power. But my second reservation is, even if Joe Biden were that person and could make those points, I don't know if there's an audience for that in the Democratic Party these days. If there is, it's a silent majority within the party, because right now the party is clearly dominated by the angry, the hateful, the spiteful, the socialist-leaning, the racist kind of politicking. I don't know where the soul of the Democratic Party is. I don't know that it has a coherent, moderate center anymore. I might be wrong, but I don't see it raising its hand so far.
No, I agree, because they haven't wrapped their what I keep hearing all the time is, well, Trump's going to lose. And well, what are you doing about it? What candidate are you supporting? And nobody likes any of the candidates. I mean, that's But when is all right? So there's 10 candidates tonight, 10 more tomorrow. When is this like the riffraff, the barely hanger-oners going to be gone? When are we going to see people really start dropping out of this race?
Well, I was surprised. There are 20 in the debates tonight and tomorrow night, and there are 5 who didn't even make the debate. So there's still 25 of them out there. Tom Steyer, for example, being one who didn't make the debates. And, they're going to continue to raise the threshold of what you have to do to get there. So I would think that by sometime in the fall, because don't forget, once you get into the fall, then you're just 3 to 4 months from Iowa. And so you would think that the party would want to shrink the field down to the real, true, possible nominees, of which at this point I would say there are probably 4, Sanders, Warren, Biden, and Harris. Looks to me like those are the 4 who are viable nationally as well as in the early states. In fact, it kind of lined up every way. In Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina, it was Biden, Warren, Biden, Sanders, Warren, Harris, in that order in all 3 states. So that seems to me to be your field at this point anyway. And sooner or later, you're going to want, if you're a Democratic leader, you're going to want the public you're going to want to showcase those 4. You're going to want to surround them with a party that is committed to backing the nominee. So you're going to want to do away with a lot of this also-rans and the pretenders to get them out of the way so that you can create more of an adoration for your nominee. So they're going to have to do that pretty quickly. We're now at the end of July, and I would think that by the middle of September, they're going to want to see a very, maybe down to 6 at that point. But I don't know exactly what process they have in mind, because people are able to stick around with a little bit of money. You can keep showing up.
He is Michael Goodwin, New York Post columnist, Fox News contributor. His latest piece also on Mueller's testimony that ended any Trump impeachment talks, as we talked about last week. Michael, thanks so much for joining us as always. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you both.
Thanks. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey guys, Ken here from Income Store. I needed to take a minute just to brag on our almost 200 amazing employees. In 2009, we changed our tagline to, "We can grow any business in any industry at any time." The world trusted us and helped us become a 5-time Inc. 5000 honoree. Our 200 employees have done two major things at the same time. We manage 1,800 money-making websites and over 260 e-commerce sites for our client partners across the globe. 34% of Americans visited one of these assets last year. But at the same time, these amazing employees have stopped their life every single week and recorded videos and podcasts of exactly how we grow these digital assets. If you're looking to figure out how we do it, just go to door number 1. It's free. You can study thousands of hours of material on how to grow your business. If you have money but no time, go to door number 2. It's a bit pricey, but our managed services are absolutely incredible. You got to check out IncomeStore.com. Our 200 employees are absolutely amazing.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I don't know if you know what I'm saying, but all of a sudden it kicked in. I don't know how long it took it to kick in, but it kicked in. I feel it. I have more spring in the old step than I did before. Somebody told me, they said, "Boy, what is with you? You're getting too lively." I said, "I just feel great," and I do, and it just hit me all of a sudden. So I am so happy with the product. It's fabulous.
Experience the difference for yourself. Receive 25% off your first preferred purchase of Balance of Nature. Plus, get a set of convenient travel bottles containing a free additional week's supply of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. You will still receive free shipping on every order. This is a limited offer and may end at any time. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
If you're a healthy, self-employed small business owner with income too high to qualify for an Obamacare subsidy, I have good news. Recent regulatory changes have created new, lower-priced health insurance options that are available to you right now. These policies include a nationwide PPO with access to Chicago's teaching hospitals like University of Chicago, Northwestern, Rush, and Lurie Children's Hospital. Did you know that a self-employed husband and wife team can purchase group health insurance that covers pre-existing conditions, even if they have no employees? Are you nearing the age of 65 and trying to figure out the Medicare maze? Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Obamacare, then you need a local expert on your side. Your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 20-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for 7 years. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
Do you have a family? Would you like to help make sure they'll be taken care of if anything were to happen to you? If you answered yes, you probably need life insurance. Now, do you think life insurance is expensive? If you answered yes to that too, you definitely need to give AIG Direct a call. We could find you a $250,000 policy for just $14 a month, which means you could save hundreds of dollars a year. Call us now for a free, no-obligation quote. 1-800-400-6213. Since 1995, we've helped millions of people find out if they could save up to 70% on their term life insurance. See how affordably we can help you protect your family. Call AIG Direct now for your free quote. 1-800-400-6213. You could save up to 70%. That's 1-800-400-6213. 1-800-400-6213.
AM 560. The Answer.
Dan and Amy, the new Quentin Tarantino movie is out. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, right? You've seen the previews.
My neighbors saw it. They liked it.
Well,
It's playing at the Music Box right now in Southport.
then your neighbor is not very woke.
Well, what does that mean?
And neither is the music. Music Box is showing it?
Yep.
Oh,
Lines
boy.
along all the way down the street.
The Music Box is going to be in trouble.
Why? What? Well, my neighbors are young. They're in their 20s. But,
No excuse.
well, what? What's going on? Do tell.
The Guardian.
Do we need special music behind the segment.
Let me read a paragraph to you and get your reaction. Maybe share it with your unwoke neighbors. In Tarantino's debut directorial feature, Reservoir Dogs, the only female characters in the credits are Shot Woman, and Shocked Woman.
Okay.
Pulp Fiction, his second film, features female characters more prominently, but a trend of reveling in the abuse of women began to emerge. One of Pulp Fiction's most famous scenes involves Uma Thurman's character getting stabbed in the heart with a shot of adrenaline to resuscitate her after a drug overdose.
Yeah, that was smart. They saved her life.
I don't think you're picking up what she's laying down.
What, that he's depicting women who are abused?
New York Post, Sarah Stewart, Tarantino's exploitation has no place in Hollywood anymore. Why does the female lead of his new movie, Margot Robbie as Sharon Tate, get almost nothing to say? The New Yorker's Richard Brody dings the new film for being too white.
Oh, come on.
Uh-huh. That he points out that
Are there going to be protests in front of the music box?
the movie villain played by DiCaprio's actor character refers to a Mexican as a beaner, quote unquote. But then again, as Kyle Smith points out in his review of The Reviewers, villains do tend to say mean things in movies.
Yeah, they do.
sometimes intemperate
There's
things.
an
Yeah.
antagonist and a protagonist. And
Some of these movie reviewers, apparently, this is the first movie they've seen.
Right, I
And
guess so.
or the new them, this is the first movie they've seen with their new sensibility. So should Quentin Tarantino be barred from Hollywood? Should be thrown out of the Academy and prevented from making movies because, as you've heard, he's a misogynist and a white supremacist, apparently. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636-DA, turnkey.pro text line.
Well, isn't it Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? What is the premise of the movie? Aren't they talking about what life was like in Hollywood decades ago? Or is there something that I'm missing here?
Yeah, there's a lot that you're missing. So read a summary of the movie. But
I should.
The point
okay,
is,
visits 1969 Los Angeles, where everything is changing.
Sharon Tate murdered by Charlie Manson, right? And so, right, it's sort of the whole milieu in Hollywood at the time. And you've got Brad Pitt, you got Leonardo DiCaprio, the biggest stars in Hollywood. That doesn't necessarily substitute for crimes against moral propriety for the cultural Marxists, but it is worth noting that he's in the crosshairs, isn't it? I mean, and that's not even including his analysis of Top Gun that we played last week in honor of the Top Gun sequel being
Who
announced.
plays Sharon Tate?
Margot Robbie, I just said.
Oh.
That's the lead.
She's gorgeous.
The point out Reservoir Dogs too. I love this criticism from the Guardian. Reservoir Dogs only feels female characters in the credits as shot woman and shocked woman. As Kyle Smith points out, well, every important character in Reservoir Dogs suffers extreme violence, and they're all men. If you're going to make the charge the only female characters are shot woman and shocked woman, your problem seems to be that there are not enough women getting aggressed in the film. No fair leaving women out of the ear removal party. Great scene. That's a great movie, by the way. Every movie with Harvey Keitel is a good movie.
Margot Robbie was amazing in I, Tonya.
She was good as Tanya Harding.
So good.
She was.
Won an Academy Award for that. But anyway, back to angry Hollywood people.
Back to the
who
question.
have nothing better to do than to go through the credits of Reservoir Dog and see how many female roles and what they were being characterized as.
Are you starting to get the notion that cultural Marxists leave no stone unturned, no work product untouched? Politics will touch every single aspect of your life and the idiosyncratic aspects under the categories of living in a free society. So we're not just going after movies generally, we're going to scrutinize every movie. This is the totalitarian mindset. And it's on college campuses, and it's in the arts, and it's in corporate boardrooms, and obviously it's in government. George and Monique, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan. Hey, Amy. This timing is perfect, man, because everybody on the Democratic ticket, it's like picking your favorite Manson family member.
Thanks, George. That's another good question for tonight. Maybe a cultural maven like Don Lemon can ask them whether or not Quentin Tarantino's movie should be banned by the state. And Quentin Tarantino's career ended by the state. I'd love to hear the answers. Got to walk a fine line to appease the cultural Marxist mobs.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Speaking of which, we'll go back and update you on the day that was with Al Sharpton in Baltimore at 8:38.
And later, would you give up custody of your child to get financial aid? But first, let's get into the news. Here is Mike Scott.
A sheriff says one person is dead. A suspect shot at a Walmart in the northern Mississippi city of South Haven. Actually, it's a suburb of Memphis, Tennessee. DeSoto County Sheriff Bill Pasco providing some details about the shooting. It prompted a sizable law enforcement response, officers setting up a perimeter, and then many entered that Walmart supercenter. Dozens were killed in a brutal prison riot in Brazil, a gang war that started Monday morning at the Regional Recovery Center, lasting several hours. 57 are said to be dead. Many died from asphyxiation. Gang members set fire to parts of that prison. After days of dragging Representative Elijah Cummings and the city of Baltimore through the mud on Twitter, according to his opponents, apparently sounds like President Trump is willing to work with Maryland Democrats to fix Baltimore's problems. Housing and Urban Development Secretary Ben Carson was on Fox News last night.
I asked him today, would you be willing to work with Elijah Cummings to bring some relief to the people of Baltimore? He said he would be happy to.
Carson spent years in Baltimore working as a neurosurgeon at Johns Hopkins Hospital. 20 of the nearly 24 Democrat presidential candidates getting ready to rumble in round 2 of debates tonight and tomorrow night. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders and Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren will take center stage tonight in Detroit, flanked by 8 other candidates. We'll soon learn more about shootings that left 5 dead in Lake Hallie and Lafayette, Wisconsin, in the northwestern part of that state. Sheriff's initial sense is that it was a murder-suicide. Security a top priority at Chicago's Lollapalooza this week, following the deadly shootings at a garlic festival in California. And a Chicago man is due in bond court today after his 3-year-old was killed in an accidental shooting over the weekend on the far south side. Cubs and Cardinals on the docket tonight. Sox are welcoming in the Mets. The news is a service of Unbound. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. See how far your support can go at unbound.org. 8:34, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher can see the president working the media.
I don't think he's going to stand there like John McCain once tried to do and say, no, my friends, she's a nice lady, Ilhan Omar. We just have disagreements philosophically. It's pure comedy to watch the same usual suspects hyperventilate over a moment like that with the intensity and the overreaction that President Trump is counting on.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Amanda Zanger, owner of Black Industrial and Safety Supply in Hammond, Indiana, and a business customer of Signature Bank. Prior to owning my own business, I worked for a major financial institution. So when it came time to finance the acquisition of Black, I approached a big bank, only to receive a solid no. That's when Signature Bank stepped in. With Signature Bank, the process was different. Signature provided creative financing options that enabled me to purchase Black and continue to grow the business. Thanks to Signature Bank, Black Industrial is able to continue serving Fortune 500 industry fabricators and contractors with tools and safety supplies as we have since 1893.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Blue Emu supports healthy muscles and joints. Blue Emu works fast and you won't stink.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson, and I've got a quick, cost-effective way to protect and grow the value of your home this summer. Call the professionals at CertaPro Painters for interior and exterior painting. They painted the first floor of my home last year, and every time someone walks in, they always say, gosh, your house looks so much bigger. That's because one of their color specialists helped me pick out the perfect color. So boost your curb appeal this summer with a fresh coat of paint while protecting it from the heat, storms, and insects. Be proud to show off your house to your friends and neighbors. Their summer calendar has a few spots available, so secure yours now. Don't put it off. Time to hire CertaPro Painters, your residential and commercial painting experts. You can schedule a free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Get a free estimate at CertaPro.com or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life.
8:36 AM 560 traffic center time. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Inbound Kennedy delays start around Irving Park, but there is a crash at Kimball now blocking the right lane. We're looking at about 42 minutes O'Hare to downtown, 32 from Montrose, 25 on the Express, about 45 minutes to the airport. Eden's 19 minutes Lake Hook to the junction, outbound 29. Eisenhower, an hour and 4 minutes from 390 to the Circle, 44 minutes from Manheim, outbound 58 minutes to 390. Stevenson, 59 minutes, 355 to the drive, outbound 41. To Ryan, 38 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 17 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishop Ford 30. Reagan Tollway, it's heavy eastbound from the Aurora Toll to 59, 355 to Midwest, and 22nd to the Tri-State. It's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Sunny to partly cloudy today. Very nice, 78, clear and 60 overnight. Currently 69. Next news coming up at 9, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Experience the many restaurants of Seven Bridges on the evening of August 8th at the Golf Club in Woodridge, Illinois. Aside from great tastings and treats, Sample Seven Bridges will have prize drawings and DJ entertainment throughout the evening. Visit chambers630.com to register.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, you know what? I have to say happy birthday to my sister.
You just did.
Happy birthday, Chrissy.
All right, very good.
Sean thinks she's on. Sean from Elmwood Park. Oh, shocker.
What are you doing for her birthday?
I'm taking her to yoga, and then I'm giving her a present. And that's about that.
That's nice. Well,
it's nice. We spent time together on Saturday. We went to the Playpen on one of our friends' boats. Have you been to the Playpen? You live right next to it.
No. I mean, yes, but no, not recently.
It is just
it's Caligula on water. I get it. Yeah.
I've never seen anything like gyrating people naked, topless, and the Chicago Police Marine Unit
gyrating. You sound like an old lady.
Well, twerking.
Gyrating.
Well, twerking.
You still sound like an old lady.
Do I sound old? I sound old. But,
people were dancing to the rock and roll.
Well, they were moving their hips.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we went there, and it was. I haven't been there in 10 years, and I don't need to go back anytime soon.
Yeah. Well, also too, because you got to watch out for speedboats ramming into the break wall. Apparently, that happened over the weekend.
Oh yeah, and then somebody drowned on Saturday, or they can't find him, and I predicted that as soon as we went in there. I said somebody's going to drown today because people are drinking and doing whatever else they're doing, and they go on these floaty mats, Dan. And there's so many people you can't keep track of all of them. And they're looking for this 30-year-old male who was last seen boat hopping in the Playpen. So.
Well, I want to update our story we led off the show with. Of course, we know the identity now of that Gilroy Garlic Festival shooter, 19 years old, murdered 3 people, injured another dozen, serious injuries. President Trump remarked upon that yesterday during a Rose Garden signing ceremony for the 9/11 Victims Compensation Fund.
We express our deepest sadness and sorrow for the families who lost a precious loved one in the horrific shooting last night in Gilroy, California. While families were spending time together at a local festival, a wicked murderer opened fire and killed 3 innocent citizens, including a young child. We grieve for their families, and we ask that God will comfort them with his overflowing mercy and grace. We're praying for those who are recovering right now in the hospital, some very, very serious injuries. We thank the brave members of law enforcement. They never let us down, who swiftly killed the shooter. We reaffirm our national will to answer violence with the courage, determination, and resolve of one American family. We will continue to work together as communities and as citizens to stop evil, prevent violence, and protect the safety of all Americans.
One of the other victims, a lot has been mentioned of the 6-year-old boy, understandably, but also the other victims, 13-year-old
Girl, yes.
Kayla Salazar, she, she was eating ice cream with her parents, 2 younger sisters, and other family members. They heard what they thought were fireworks, realized they were gunshots. That's according to a friend. Family started to run away, but Kayla stayed back to keep pace with her stepfather's mother, who uses a cane and was wounded. Her friend said if Kayla hadn't been there, her stepfather's mother would have been shot. So she, by just, tending to her elder, she saved a life while she unfortunately was murdered. If Kayla hadn't, Kayla's stepfather was also wounded when he went back for her. So a family that suffered terrible tragedy over the weekend. And in addition to that, the third person who was killed,
25-year-old grad student.
Trevor Irby, and he was also a Steelers fan, man after my own heart. Majored in biology, graduated in 2017 from college in upstate New York, where he grew up. He lived in the tiny town of Romulus, northwest of New York City. So those are the victims. Want to remember the victims and not the shooter in these instances. But what about the shooter? We don't know a lot. I know there's been some talk about his heritage. I don't know that there's any reason to suggest that's particularly relevant at this
Well,
point.
his grandmother described him as a loving boy. His grandfather is Iranian descent.
His grandfather also was a local county supervisor.
Okay. His brother is an amateur boxer. Of course, all the neighbors that were interviewed said they didn't see this coming, that he didn't seem like a violent kid. He purchased the gun legally. It was a AK-47. He purchased it legally in Nevada and then brought it into California.
Also, just an interesting note, suburban Congressman Dan Lipinski was there with his wife. He issued a statement saying, "My wife Judy and I were at the Gilroy Garlic Festival during the shooting. The shooter was not far from us as we heard the loud pops, which seemed to get closer as we ran. We're very thankful to law enforcement. The tragedy would have been far worse if not for their quick action. Also, the festival staff did a great job in the aftermath, and so they're okay, which is a good news too." But I want to get to, there's going to be, of course, the talk about the AK, and there's going to be talk about perhaps mental illness, although there's no immediate indication that that was a factor. But there is this that's getting some attention. Apparently, according to a witness, someone yelled out when he opened fire, "Why are you doing this?" And he allegedly responded, "Because I'm really angry."
They said that's all he said during the whole ordeal.
And
because I'm angry.
And so my question is addressing that. So getting a handle on what his family situation was, which is material to this discussion of because I'm really angry. And then also the culture that indulges people of all ages, certainly Gen Zers, but of all ages, the unrestrained expression of their feelings. And by the way, their feelings are the foundation of their morality. And that's to be celebrated. Is that at play here? We've put violent video games and consumption of pornography, and he read a proto-fascist book.
Well, yeah, minutes before the shooting, I guess he had posted the people should read the Might is Right book. And then there was a photo of Smokey the Bear in front of a fire danger sign. And then he put a picture up too of an AK-47 type weapon. It's just, and then he wrote, garlic festival time. Come get wasted on overpriced blank.
Yeah, I know we're going to go to all these places where we have attempted to derive understanding previously. I don't know that we've got much from those places. So what about the places in terms of sort of the emotional mentorship of young people? Emotional/moral mentorship. Because the sentimental barbarians are connecting the two. Your emotional expression is the foundation of your morality, which is why you can't even have discussions anymore. You can't even follow this logic. Oh, I don't believe in logic. I don't believe in reason. That's a construct you're imposing on me. This is seriously sort of the culture on college campuses. So what about that? What about no discussion of inculcating restraint in young people? What about the discussion of character formation based on universal truths, not your fleeting emotions in the moment? Should that be part of the conversation? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Home life, which there is a lot of important insight, from which there's a lot of important insight to be gained, of course, even though for some reason we ignore it in cases where we have neighborhoods and communities overrun by destructive, criminal, predatory behavior, and we pretend like, mom and or dad being absent is not an issue. It's just a workaround for the state. But this other component that is so cultural, and you see the expressions of it everywhere and increasing in incidence. Richard in Rockford, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Dan, you just hit a home run. I'm a gun owner. I've been a gun owner since I was raised by my father, who was a gun owner, and he was incredibly strict and incredibly structured when it came to the guns in the house. Guns were in one part of the house in the gun case, and ammunition was nowhere to be seen. So I just called in by saying that we gun owners who are being compared to gang members and sociopaths because we want to own guns and we want to own a gun that's called the AR-15, we need to be the ones who are standing up and speaking with the moms who are concerned and all those other people. We need to sit down and have solutions rather than a conversation. Conversations don't pay bills, and conversations don't fix anything. Solutions do after the conversation. So I'm just reaching out to you. I thought what you just said was my hand was clapping. I didn't want the clap to be heard when you put me on air. Is because you can't talk about things. You can't talk about reality anymore because reality insults some people. But the fact of the matter is, gun control advocates and the gun control culture is not going to go away. And we gun owners are going to have to embrace in a very neighborly and systematic and logical way the people who oppose what we believe in. What we think is fine, they don't think is fine. And what we think isn't fine for them, they think is fine. So we have to, as gun owners, stand up and say, wait a minute, I am not a sociopath. I am not going to harm anybody with my firearms. I don't own firearms because of this, that, and the other thing. And I actually started a vehicle for this. I actually decided to get my fat butt off the couch and do something. Well, actually, I sit on the couch and do it on the internet. But, I mean, it's just time for people like me to stand up and say, wait a minute, why are the Democrats or anti-gun people or whoever else, not just the Democrats, why are you considering me a sociopath? I've never harmed anybody with my gun. There's never been an angry bone in my body that's ever harmed anybody with a gun. I mean, so we need to stand up as gun owners and say, screw that, and here's what we should do. There are some sensible gun laws. Come on, we have to face the fact. There should be sensible gun laws. Well, on an NRA range, you can't even holster a weapon. You can't even take a loaded gun from the stand where you're shooting back to its case. There's all sorts of strictness in NRA ranges.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
we know that there are sensible ways to handle guns.
Of course.
And we have to sit down with people who are hurting. And by the way, I've lost a child to somebody sold my son bad drugs and it killed him. So I understand what it's like to get that phone call that literally tears your guts out of your body. So when we're discussing things like this with parents of of people that have been either mauled or murdered by guns. We can't just say, well, our rights are overrule your rights. No, we all have the same rights to the Second Amendment, and that Second Amendment does have 3 different verses to it that are extremely important to focus on all 3 and move forward as such. And we gun owners are the ones that are going to have to start taking control of this thing and doing what's right for our neighbors and society, which it doesn't mean confiscation. It doesn't mean to deny us firearms. It just means we have to live together in the same neighborhood. And now our country is basically just one big neighborhood.
Thanks for
I really appreciate all the time to talk, Dan.
No,
but
thanks for the call, Richard. Appreciate all that you had to offer. Very good call.
Our condolences about your son. That's
Yeah.
And just so you know,
Yeah.
the reason the gunman was able to buy an AK-47 in Nevada, that was where his last address is listed. But you can buy an AK-47. You have to be 18. In California, you have to be 21 to buy that type of weapon.
Well, I mean, concurrent to that, just to talk about the gun issue for a moment, you have this story out of Virginia Beach that's not going to get nearly the attention. A quick stop at a 7-Eleven for a big gulp and some nachos in the middle of the night went sideways for Barry Engel. In a matter of minutes, she was on the ground covering her head and praying she wouldn't get shot. There were robbers, masked and armed. Police believe it was at least the 5th 7-Eleven in the area the pair held up in a matter of hours. Then came the gunshots, but it wasn't the robbers who fired their guns. It was a bystander at the back of the store who pulled out his. Engel, who owns a cafe down the street from the 7-Eleven, waiting with her friend near the cash register, nearly empty. 2 gentlemen, armed masked robbers, came into the store with their guns up and told us to stay where we were. Nobody move, she said. I did exactly that, pretty much froze, looked at my friend, and he looked at me wondering, is this really happening? Is this real? And it was. And so you had somebody who was a lawful gun owner who took them down, basically. So, and there's many of these incidents we talk about good guys with guns versus bad guys with guns. But that's sort of addressing the symptoms. How are we getting to this place where you have 2 guys running around Virginia Beach robbing 7-Elevens at gunpoint? That's sort of the larger question we're trying to get to. That emotional piece, the indulging, unrestrained expression of emotions, and also the family piece. I mean, just think about this. Interesting paper that's just been published on divorce in higher education, evaluating the degree to which the adverse parental divorce affects university education. Using 1 million siblings from Taiwan, we find that parental divorce occurring at ages 13 to 18 led to a 10.6% decrease in the likelihood of university admission at age 18. We also looked at a sample that say the researchers estimate the effect of parental job loss occurring at the same ages, and use the job loss effect as a benchmark to indicate potential parental divorce effect due to family income loss. We find the job loss effect very little. Combined, the upshot, these results imply a minor role played by reduced income in driving the parental divorce effect on a child's higher education outcome. Non-economic mechanisms such as psychological and mental shocks are more likely dominant. Our further examination shows that boys and girls are equally susceptible, and younger teenagers more vulnerable than the more mature ones to parental divorce. So this is not to, castigate anybody who's gotten divorced with teenage kids, but it's to show you there is measurable impacts in terms of outcomes. There is psychological impacts you have on how your children are raised and how they're also looked after in K through 12 school systems and in other settings. Those things matter. They're impactful. And so we shouldn't, if we can measure the impacts, then we should, and we should have a conversation about them to make sure we understand just how important these decisions that are being made are and the kind of effects they throw off. And I think that's sort of the same discussion with respect to, although it's going to be much more difficult to measure, but we know
We know the men without chests. We know when you raise kids that are just appetites, you unleash barbaric behavior, particularly among boys. And that's what we're doing. So, it goes back to, I guess, Richard from Rockford's point to some extent, gun owners leading the way on that aspect of the issue, where people, again, want to just address the system. AK-47 was used, so ban the AK-47 for everybody. And we know that has no impact. These sorts of discussions, I think, have some potential for impact, but they're a lot more painstaking. They require a lot more buy-in and a much bigger time commitment and much more serious policymakers. So the question is whether we have the appetite for it or we're just going to make excuses and finger point and play politics every time one of these mass shootings happens.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I don't know if you know what I'm saying, but all of a sudden it kicked in. I don't know how long it took it to kick in, but it kicked in. I feel it.